What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? Z-Bot, Rico. It's Rico in Bot on a Victory Tuesday, powered by BetUS, and we got a million things plus one to talk about on this Tuesday. Bills get the W. Bills are 4-2. Bills number one in the AFC East. Bills got a new number one wide receiver, Rico. Talk to me, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see it live and direct. Your boy Bot, your boy Rico in the building. Do us a favor before we even get this thing started. Smash that like. Let's get this video to 500 likes, because what that does is it gets this share to a whole lot of Browns fans, Bills fans, AFC East fans. Get this thing rocking. Get your subs in. Let's get this rolling. The Bills are absolutely rolling to number one spot in the AFC East. It feels good to get away with a dub, especially when it's up against a division foe in the New York City Jets. You were at the game. I mean, we'll talk about that, but we got big things to talk about, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking freaking news from earlier today. But we've got a new addition to the squad. Ladies and gentlemen, who are these two guys? Josh Allen, Amari Cooper, the former Raider, the former Dallas Cowboy, and now the former Browns, has now made his way to Western New York in Buffalo. Listen, where were you guys in the chat when you guys found this out? Were you shocked? Were you surprised by this? Z-Bot, tell me.
Yeah, I'll tell you where I was. I was in my bed on my deathbed. I'm glad I'm able to be on with you right now. I've been sicker than a dog today. The worst possible day on the planet to be sick, because this morning we had Davante Adams to the Jets break. We had the Bills game to talk about, which I was at last night, so I couldn't do the pre, couldn't do the post. Sneeko, by the way, it's not because I'm a married man. It's because I was at the game, and then I got sicker than a dog. So I missed that, missed this, and whatever. So I wake up in the middle of my slumber of just, and I roll over, grab the phone, Rico, and I'm like this. It was like I got an anecdote just shot right into my bloodstream, because I'm sicker than hell. I'm running back, and I'm not going to give you all the details, but I'll give you some. I mean, for God's sakes, last episode, he went through a full vasectomy. I think I can tell you I was going to the bathroom more than I probably should have been in a normal day here. And I'm running back and forth, and I finally caught more than an hour of sleep between having to get up and go and basically die the room over. And I look at my phone, and Rico, that was all the medicine I needed. I still feel like ass, but I feel less like ass because of this trade that the Bills were able to get done today.
Let's get right into the first one that kind of gripped you a little bit when you find out that immediately the Jets went out and acquired Davante Adams from the Raiders. Davante is now playing for what? Is his third team now? Playing for his third team. Went from Green Bay to the Raiders, and now playing for the New York Jets. First and foremost, does this trade make sense for the New York Jets?
Oh, my God. I love this so much, Rico. It's funny because you know how much you and I wanted to make a move on Davante. We never would have considered wanting to make this move if it were under the conditions in which the New York Jets made this move under. This is hilarious. And once again, it is a classic New York Jets move. We lose in embarrassing fashion once again. We're now 2-4. The hopes that everybody had set for us, that you and I, especially me, had never bought into at all, are all but gone already through 6 weeks of football. So in order to heal it, let's hire our defensive coordinator, led head coach, who had this defense playing extremely well up until last week. Let's fire him. Let's promote another defensive-oriented coach. Let's then demote Nathaniel Hackett instead of firing him, even though everybody knows that he is one of the bigger problems in the organization right now, especially in terms of how poor this offense has been with Aaron Rodgers. Let's promote somebody to call the plays that no one's really heard of instead of firing Hackett. And then after we lose again, let's go and get a 31-year-old wide receiver. Not that I wouldn't have wanted him as a Bills fan, but let's not only go and get him, but let's take on his entire contract. Let's pay, $11 million for him. And let's do it in a spot where we don't even know if this addition is going to enhance our chances at all of making a playoff run, winning a playoff game. I mean, at this point, I don't even know if saying making the playoffs is like an outreach. The Jets right now, in terms of the betting market, are a far favorite to not make the playoffs with or without Davante than they are to make it. But look at this right in front of you, Rico, what you just put up there. This is why I'm satisfied with this. And then to go ahead and see what the Bills did. This is why I love this move so much for the Bills and why I laugh at this move for Davante. I mean, fine, the Jets can go out and do well with Davante over the next few weeks, the rest of the season here, whatever. At what cost? Is Davante Adams 13 times or whatever this math winds up being? You know me, I'm no whatever. Mark Zuckerberg, yeah, I'm no Mark Zuckerberg or whatever. But is Davante Adams at 31 years old? Is he 13 or whatever it is times better than Amari Cooper? Because that's what that money's showing you right in front of you. The Bills are getting Amari Cooper for less than $900,000. The Jets are paying over $11.5 million for Davante Adams at 2-4 with no signs offensively. I mean, it's not like Garrett Wilson's been playing well. The last 2 weeks, Garrett Wilson's been playing really well. Is this the problem? I don't even know. Breece Hall dominated last night, Rico. They still could not get in the end zone. They missed multiple kicks. Aaron Rodgers, a turnover again on a potential game-winning drive for back-to-back weeks in a row. This, to me, is the most New York Jets move of all time. And before you say, oh, here comes the salty Bills fan, no. I've been on record. I wanted Davante Adams, but if you had asked me for $11.5 million, I would have said, well, one, it's never going to happen because the Bills flat out can't do it. And two, I wouldn't want to do it. But I told you what I was willing to do. I was willing to give up a second, which was more than anybody else wanted to do. For this amount of money, hell no. And for the Bills to turn around after beating the Jets, and then, in my opinion, getting the better deal in terms of the same positional group to go and enhance this team moving forward, this is a great 24 hours to be a Bills fan. I don't know how great of a 24-hour span it is to be a Jets fan. I understand if you're happy right now if you're a Jets fan, but when you really look at the minute details here, Rico, this is pretty insane.
First and foremost, does it make sense for the Jets to go do this move? Davante Adams. Let's start on Davante Adams' side. Davante Adams is obviously not pleased with the quarterback play of how Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew's playing out there. I get it. You've not been happy since last year, but you said, you know what? I like the coach. I'll come back. I'll do what we got to do. Let's see what we got. You don't get Jaden Daniels because that's apparently who the Raiders wanted. So Davante's like, all right, we didn't get him. I guess I'm here. We're going to try to make this work. It hasn't been working out. He's been out the last 2 games. He's been out with a hamstring injury the last 2 games. He wants out. So you leave a 2-4 team to join another 2-4 team. Granted, you're playing with a much better quarterback, a future Hall of Fame quarterback, but a quarterback that's he's 40. He's 40. He's got this year, and who knows how much he gets beat up this year. Does he even return next year? So now you're going to be stuck in the same position. If you're lucky, you might get Rodgers for an additional year. And then you're back in the same position playing with a rookie. Bro, I don't like this move for Adams, but that's where you want it to go. I'm going to tell you something. Receivers, I asked you this question before. Receivers go there to die. There's not a whole lot of receivers that do well. Garrett Wilson, right now, he's doing extremely well for now until he's got a dip, until Rodgers got a dip. And now you're sitting with this mess. So now you got Garrett Wilson, you got Davante Adams. They're going to ship off Mike Williams because that boy's an absolute bum. His stock went way down.
Yeah, and Rodgers blamed the game on him essentially last night too, which was hilarious.
And as he should. A, the ball was underthrown. B, poorly run route. And C, Mike Williams sucks. It's just what it is. So Davante Adams going to the Jets. Listen, kudos to him. He's going to make them a little better. Actually, he's going to make them much better at the receiving position. Garrett Wilson's going to get himself a nice pairing. You just got yourself. Now you're the little dog. The big dog's in town now. Davante Adams. Now, will that chemistry go back to being what it was when Davante was with, Mr. Rodgers? We'll soon find out. But is this a good move for Adams? No. Now for the Jets. Fam. Bro, you got rid of your coach thinking that I was going to solve the issues. No, it didn't. The Bills did what they needed to do to you, and they could have done way more. All right, that's number one. Aaron Rodgers out here doing the blame game. Whether you should do it or not, he plays by his own rules. And now you're going to bring in a strong personality in Davante Adams that's a lot older now. He's been around now. You hope that this crumbles in New York. I hope it crumbles in New York. We'll see how it goes, man.
This is a bit more interesting, though, because I saw some comments, and I didn't see this, and now this is just in about an hour to 45 minutes ago. This contract has been completely reworked.
It has.
The Las Vegas Raiders, the trade's been completed, obviously. But ESPN reported that Adams restructured his contract. This is via Yahoo Sports.
Yep.
ESPN reports that Adams restructured his contract upon the deal to reduce his salary cap number to $3.21 million for the remainder of the season. Per Spot Track, Adams' salary cap hit previously stood at $11.59. What I'm trying to find out, it's saying now his restructured contract now has 2 remaining voidable years, and the two sides plan to discuss his long term. So he's still owed the rest of that 11.59, right? It just gets kicked down the road, I'm imagining. Okay.
Right, and he had 2 voidable years added to his contract.
Yeah, all right. So I get what everybody's saying, but you still got to pay the guy. You still got to pay him $11.5 million, right? Correct?
Absolutely. You still got to pay him that money. He's owed that money.
Regardless.
The Jets took it all on.
Yes, that's what I thought. But I'm reading that, and it makes it seem like they just evaporated $8 million. But I don't think that's the case. They're just kicking it down the road. Okay. I just wanted to verify that because I don't know how shit works. Davante Adams could literally be so desperate to get out of Vegas. He could be like, you know what, just slash my contract in a quarter and I'll be out of there. How you'd want to do that to go to the Jets, though, is incredible to me. It blows my mind, Rico. This today, I never thought I would be so excited about a move for Amari Cooper in the same day in which the Jets made a move for Davante Adams. But I'm trying to be an adult here. And I'm looking at this from an adult perspective, how Brandon Beane probably looked at this, and trying to look at this from the perspective of not putting the big name first, or the guy I think that will be the guy that comes out and maybe will be the better player. I'm trying to look at this from value perspective, from what I think can work for the Bills perspective without having to do too much. Is Amari Cooper better than a John Brown coming in or a Cole Beasley coming in? Right? Guys that Josh Allen made into studs playing with him, right? You could certainly make that argument. And is Amari Cooper coming in already as a better receiver than anybody the Bills currently have on their roster? Absolutely. So you can't not be excited about this. Also, when you factor in Amari Cooper playing with Deshaun Watson, who's been putting up some of the worst quarterback play in the league throughout the last year. When he was playing with Joe Flacco last year, do you remember, Rico? Amari Cooper was balling out. This is going to be one of the best opportunities Amari Cooper has had to play some of his best ball. This is exciting stuff. And I think for the money paid, how could you not be excited about this? And how could you not feel better about the situation the Bills are in with this move than what the Jets just did with Davante Adams? That's how I feel.
2023 was actually a very big year for Amari Cooper. Obviously, getting the ball thrown to by a quarterback that is, doing good things right now in Flacco. But what a huge event, what a huge breath of fresh air. I don't know if anybody pays attention to Amari Cooper or follows him on social media, but if you looked at his IG had 3 words on it: move or rust. That was what it was. That's a clear shot at the Browns. Y'all, I was rusting over there, man. Y'all don't know. Y'all didn't oil me up. Y'all didn't do nothing for me. I was rusting over there. Thank goodness Brandon B was like, yo, come on through, man. We got something for you. And now he gets to join a quarterback that has been dying for someone that gets separation. And here's a big one. I just got a message, and I think it was coming from Tom Pelissero or somebody else. But Amari Cooper this year, 2.7 yards of separation is what he's averaging right now. 2.7 yards of separation. Buddy, that's all Josh Allen needs. Just that little bit turns everything around. This addition to the Bills of Amari Cooper is massive. So according to Tom Pelissero, here's how this all shaped out from the beginning.
I'm so excited.
Here's how it all shaped out from the beginning. So the Browns, they were trying to shop him at the beginning of the year. They were trying to move him and see if anybody was going to be attracted to him. And in order for people to be attracted to him, they had to convert some money into guaranteed money. So the Browns converted 18.79 million of Amari Cooper's 20 million into a signing bonus. That's what made things attractive for him at the beginning of the year. Now, why no one was willing to give something up, I don't understand. The Chiefs, because they could have easily went after Amari Cooper. Thank goodness. Brandon Beane was like, no. We got to make something happen now. Let's go. Right? So there you go. So now Buffalo doesn't have the flexibility to pay Davante Adams. They didn't have that, which is fine. $11.6 million. Yo, too rich for our blood. Just too rich. So for the rest of 2024, the Jets did.
By the way, Rico, that was too rich for anybody's blood. Nobody else was going to do that but the Jets. Nobody. So the Bills get Amari Cooper this year for the remaining 10 games, 11 games, and into the playoffs for $800,000. Less than $1 million to get a 5-time Pro Bowl receiver. Bam. So let's talk about it, because I'm seeing in the comments a couple of things that I want to address here. One, is Amari Cooper as good of a receiver as Davante Adams? No. But the Bills aren't paying an exorbitant premium for a guy that might not be as trying to find the best way to phrase this.
What do you
got? The Bills are not going completely out of their way to derail their current financial situation, or their current draft capital situation, for a guy that might not be twice the receiver Amari Cooper is, like he might have used to be, or maybe he used to be, Davante Adams, right? They're not going out of their way to completely ruin themselves in the present and in the future. The Jets, what they're doing right now, they're acting like they're the Rams of a few years ago, where they feel like a few picks here and a couple of outside the realm of possibility cap moves here are going to get us the Super Bowl championship. The Jets, what they're doing right now, it might luck them into ending the longest playoff drought in the NFL. To me, that's why it makes no sense. I'm not sitting here saying Amari Cooper is the better receiver. I'm saying if I'm the Jets, why are you doing this? If you were 4-2, 5-1, and your offense wasn't playing well like it hasn't been, but the defense has stepped up and you found out that if we're one more piece away here, we're going to be able to do what we were hoping to do here. I get it. This offense, week in and week out, has not been able to put up 20-plus points. Their highest scoring game was that 24 against the Patriots. And last night, let's be honest, an incredible play. I don't want to take it away, but that Hail Mary, that was one of only 2 touchdowns the Jets were able to string together the entire night. This offense cannot score. And I don't know if Davante Adams coming in is automatically going to make this team one of the best offenses in football. So I wanted to put that out there, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying that Amari Cooper's the better player, but this is certainly the better deal. This is by far the better deal. And I think when you have the better quarterback, which the Bills unarguably do at this point, then maybe you get more out of the lesser guy than the better guy gets out of the lesser quarterback. That's how I see it.
Listen, this is what Brandon Beane was trying to do all offseason, but he just didn't have the funds to try to get himself a half-decent name. So he had to settle for guys like MVS, and that we'll talk about in just a moment. You have to settle for guys. I don't want to call it settle, because I don't want to disrespect Curtis Samuel. But because they went out and got Curtis Samuel early, there was a plan for Curtis Samuel. And I still think that they're developing something for Curtis Samuel. They're carving something out for him. But MVS, that's a settle. We settle for a name that's done some things, but we're taking a shot. I mean, MVS was at one point competing with Tyrell Shavers, for crying out loud. So I'm not disrespecting Tyrell Shavers, but MVS, my gosh, we'll talk about that later. So this is a much needed move. This is what Brandon Beane does. Brandon Beane either goes for a guy that was somewhat injured, but can still ball, can still play, had a name for himself in the past, but can still ball, can still play, or is an unhappy individual where he's at. He's done it twice now.
Correct.
He did it with Stephon Diggs, and now he's done it with Amari Cooper. So
and people in the comments are worried, Rico, and I wanted to address this too. They're worried about the drop rate. I get that, right? Amari Cooper leading the league in drops this year. If you go and look, I believe Deshaun Watson, out of, I forget how many eligible quarterbacks, but among the amount of eligible quarterbacks this year, he is near the top in terms of throwing the most uncatchable balls. So it could be an inflated stat, because the amount of opportunities Amari Cooper has been given, which I believe is the most on the Browns. I think he leads the Browns in targets. I think that also correlates with the fact that Deshaun Watson is towards the top of the league in terms of throwing one of the more uncatchable balls. Meanwhile, Josh Allen has been towards the top in terms of balls within a catchable radius. I don't know how they track these stats. I saw someone online talk about it earlier. And at the end of the day, here's the other thing I saw someone put in here that I love. Yeah, Amari Cooper might be leading in drops, this and that. Amari Cooper with leading the drop category this year, coming into a Bills situation, is still the best possible solution for what the Bills have going on offensively right now. Because even if he's got a bit of a drop bug going on right now, you have got to account for Amari Cooper now. You had nobody to account for other than Khalil Shakir and Josh Allen's legs going into a weekly matchup. Now that I have to defend a top receiver, I have to defend James Cook. Oh my God, now I got to defend Ray Davis too, who looked like Barry Sanders last night. I got to defend Josh Allen, right? The Bills needed one more piece on their chessboard in order to do a variety of different things, including deceive the opponent into doing things that maybe they weren't able to do otherwise because nobody had the respect that the Bills were putting out there offensively to earn. I think this does a lot here. I also just don't see how Amari Cooper cannot immediately be better when you're going from Deshaun Watson to Josh Allen. I mean, to me, that's like going from, I don't know, a sports or like a normal mountain bike to a motorcycle at this point, the way things are looking at this current juncture in 2024. That's the difference between the quarterbacks right now. I don't know how he could not immediately be not only impactful, but a much better receiver in his own regard as well.
I just don't understand how bad and why is Deshaun Watson that bad? This guy was at one point one of the best in the league. He was considered in the top 5, top 10 conversation. He has fallen. And it's not like he doesn't have the weapons out there. You got yourself a running back. You've had yourself a running back. You have an Njoku, you have a tight end, or had. I think he's hurt right now. You had Amari Cooper. Like, fam, what the heck happened to this guy? Anyway, not our business. We are not Browns fans. We are Bills fans. So here's the deal. Here's how we struck this deal with Amari Cooper. And this is another thing I love. We were talking about this with Davante Adams. We were talking about like what the compensation would have been for Davante Adams. And we were talking about discussing giving up a second for him. And I was like, listen, ain't nobody giving up a second round pick because they would have done it by now. And that was the back and forth that we had going. We would have done it by now. And that's exactly what it is. Nobody wanted to give up a second round for a 32-plus-year-old and a 30-year-old, and obviously an Amari Cooper. We got Amari Cooper. Listen to this. We got him for a third-round pick. We received a sixth round from the Browns for this year, and we gave up a seventh for 2026. So we gave him a 2026 seventh round. We acquired their sixth round pick for this upcoming draft this year, and we gave up a third for Amari Cooper that cost us less than $1 million. Boy, let me tell you something. The money we spent for us to get into the playoffs is worth it because now we have a bona fide number one receiver that will hopefully get us over the hump because we had a number one receiver that just disappeared in the playoff time. And it's documented. It's known. It's a fact. The Jets go out and get Davante Adams to miss the playoffs anyway. How wild is that? You gonna miss the playoffs with, bro? That's
why, like, I'm not trying to sound like it's a bad move ever to get Davante Adams. Obviously, I'd much rather have him than not. It's just, it's like it's back to the Robert Saleh thing. I'm not saying it's a bad idea to fire Robert Saleh. I never thought he was the solution to begin with, but to fire him after a week 5 game where your defense performed lights out in the second half and your quarterback threw 3 picks, and that's when you decide to move off of him. And then this past weekend, I mean, you saw the different like cracks in the armor for the Jets that had nothing to do with Robert Saleh. This team just is. Me and Rico discussed this going into the game. And my confidence level in the Bills to win this game wasn't high. But I said the reason I think that the Bills have a chance to win this game is because my confidence in the Jets being more inept than the Bills is even higher than my lack of confidence currently in Buffalo. And that's what I think you saw last night. The Jets continuously do this. They continuously prove to you why they have been one of the most dysfunctional organizations in all of professional sports in America the last decade or so. These past couple of weeks are no different. The firing, when it happened and why it happened when it did, I don't quite get it. I still don't. And now this move, Do the Jets to you look like right now they're Davante Adams away from competing with the Ravens? I'll even leave the Bills out of it right now. I'll just leave the Bills out of it because right now the Bills do not look like they could compete with the Ravens or the Chiefs. That's a fact. But I'll just leave it up to your interpretation in terms of how you view the Jets, because this type of move indicates that they view the Jets as a team that are a Davante Adams away from competing with the Baltimore Ravens, the Houston Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs, etc. And that is just far from the truth. This Jets offense all year long, once again, they lost to a Denver Broncos team who scored 10 points. And I don't know if Davante Adams is all of a sudden going to make you a 30-point team week in and week out. They've yet to score more than 24 once this entire year. And Garrett Wilson's finally gotten it going the last couple of weeks. Breece Hall, once again, like I said earlier, he got it going last night. They still couldn't crack 20, and that was including a Hail Mary. So I understand the desire to want to make this move, but you're 2-4. Your quarterback is 40 years old off an Achilles rupture. And right now, the way it's looking, Davante Adams, at the very most, what you're going to get out of this massive move in terms of what you had to spend over time here to get him for a 31-year-old receiver, what you're going to get out of this at the most, I would imagine, Rico, is what? A 6 or 7 seed and probably a first-round loss, depending on who they play. That's how I see it.
So this is it's actually it's quite comical because you look at somebody told me to take a look at because I was saying Davante Adams addition to the Jets. I mean, and they're still going to miss the playoffs, and they're like, well, take a look at who they play. Well, last time I checked, the Steelers defensively are solid as ever. They just made a quarterback change to Russell Wilson, or maybe it hasn't been announced yet. But Russell Wilson now becomes their quarterback, somewhat of a competent thrower over Justin Fields. Justin Fields just hasn't been good, man. That defense has been carrying that team. If that defense doesn't work, you're done. Then they face the Texans. They face the Patriots with Drake May now their quarterback, so who knows how that shapes out. Then the Texans, then the Cardinals, right? Then they face the Colts. Who knows who's going to be quarterback in that time? Then you got Seattle, then the Dolphins, then the Jags. Who knows what the Jags are going to be doing by that juncture, but they're going to be done playoff. They're done right now. They're not making the playoffs. Rams, then Bills again, then the Dolphins. So it's tight.
I get all that. Look at this, right? I'll just say this right how I think this goes. Go ahead and look at the Bills' next 4 games for me. And then I think going into this week, do you feel any confidence in the Jets' ability to put up enough points on that Steelers defense to win the football game? Because I don't. That Steelers defense is by far the best in the league. They win games single-handedly defensively, and they've been doing well. And I know Justin Fields hasn't been great. I know nothing about that offense has been great. They're good enough week in and week out to win games, and they were 1 play away against the Cowboys from being, 5-1 right now? That's what the Steelers have been throughout the year. They've been a better football team than the Jets, top to bottom. I mean, especially when it comes to the way that they're coached. They find ways to win. And that's how they've gotten to where they've gotten to and how they've continued to do what they've done, to everyone's confusion, because you look at the Steelers, you're like, oh, they're not that great. How are they doing this? Yet they continue to do it. So you go into this week, Rico, and let's just say hypothetically here, the Bills right now are nearly a 10-point favorite against the Tennessee Titans at home. If the Bills win that game, which they're projected to do, they'll be 5-2. And if the Jets lose to the Steelers, they're 2-5. So the Bills, not only do the Jets have a favorable schedule, so do the Bills. The Bills would have to find a way to have a major collapse as well, a Miami Dolphins type collapse, Rico, in order for the Jets to wind up making a run at that division. So to me, the best way that they get in here is a backdoor way to a 7 seed or something like that. That's how I see it.
So, and let's dive into what Amari Cooper brings to the Bills, right? So for folks that, I mean, we know Amari Cooper's game. He's a quiet type receiver. He is the polar opposite to Stephon Diggs. Polar opposite. You don't hear a peep. He's like an Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson doesn't say a word. He goes out, does his job. He does his job at a high level and goes home. And if you piss him off enough, he'll whoop your ass like you whooped Cortland Finnegan's ass on the field. Cooper, I don't know if he gives you that type of violence, but that boy just closes his mouth, gets to work, and does what he does. This is a natural fit for the type of personality that Josh Allen is, for the team that we have right now. He immediately jumps in to be the guy that takes now, that has to make the defense respect what's on the field. No disrespect to Keon Coleman. No disrespect to Khalil Shakir. We love Khalil Shakir, but Khalil Shakir is a wonderful number 2 receiver.
I think this does wonders for Khalil Shakir, by the way, Rico. This is huge for Khalil Shakir.
Absolute wonders, right? Now you have the ability to throw in Keon Coleman in the slot a little bit, because now you don't have to worry about him trying to take on this, that, and the third. This is good. This is actually really good. Now, Amari Cooper, he still can get down the field he still has acceleration. He still has the ability to separate. He's right now averaging 2.7 yards of separation. So this is the piece that the Bills needed. I just can't believe the Browns just let him go like that. I thought, all right, the Bills are knocking. I'm going to try to get higher. I bet the Bills tried to give up a 4th, and them boys were like, no, give me a second. And they're like, nah, we'll fall to a 3rd. So I think that's probably how it went down. But the fact that the Bills were able to grab Amari Cooper, that just keeps, bro, this guy looks like he's straight out of the 80s. Close. If you guys ever played Madden and you had to create your player, and they gave you all these hairstyles you can get. You can get the fade, you get the bald, you get the dreadlocks, you get the cornrows. Then there was the close crop haircut, where it was just a piece of hair on your head. Yo, that's my guy, Mark Cooper. He don't care. He just gets a tiny little fin on the bottom. That's it. Lined up. He don't care. I'm ready to play ball. That boy a ball player, man. Yo, big shout out to the Brandon Bean for knowing that
Cooper just kind of looks like he's a good dude. I don't know if that makes any sense. But look at this picture of him right here. Like this picture I used for the thumbnail. Look at him. He just looks like he'd be a kind guy. Like if you bumped him into him in line at the grocery store, he looked like he'd be a kind guy. I don't know if that matters to anybody, but I love that.
He absolutely looks like he'd star as a receiver in Remember the Titans.
Yes.
If he was in Remember the Titans, you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
He'd be next to Sunshine. Sunshine. There's Amari Cooper right next to him. Yo, throw me a ball, man. I'm ready to catch this ball. But big things are happening. The Bills needed to make this move. Brandon Bean noticed what he needed to do. Listen, if you pay attention, listen, you were at the game.
Yep.
We didn't do diddly squat in the second half. We scored 3 points.
Not a thing.
3 points in the second half. So like that, it comes to a point where like, fam, we've got to do better. We've got to do better on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that was enough for Brandon Bean to say, okay, I got to make this move. Listen, I'm pulling the trigger. Let's make this thing happen right now. I'm out on Davante. Bring me a Cooper. And now Cooper joins his team where we know what he's here for. He's not, oh, am I competing? No, you're the guy. So get yourself acclimated with this offense. Get yourself acclimated with Josh Allen. And I hope Josh Allen doesn't now start. Now, here's a whole nother ball game now. Now that you have a bona fide one receiver, a bona fide X, does he start to revert back to the Josh Allen that's forcing things?
No way.
Right?
Dude, they just rescued this guy
in 6 games.
They just rescued Amari Cooper from the NFL equivalent of Guantanamo Bay, and they're paying him $800,000. There is no way in hell Josh Allen feels obligated to do anything. That's what I love about this. You are getting a wide receiver one who does not have one. He does not have one argument in the world to demand the football. Because if it wasn't for the Bills, that guy would be stuck in Cleveland till the end of the year, wanting this season to end faster than I don't even know. I don't even have a good analogy for it. They just saved this man. He should be the happiest guy on the planet. And Josh Allen should be happy as well. This is a win-win for both of these guys, big time.
This is an absolute win for the Bills. It's a win for Josh. I'm very curious as to how it's all going to shake out with like Davante Adams right now is already planning to jump in and play right off the rip, week 7. He's already trying to get in there right off the rip. So that will be interesting against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hope Mike Tomlin whoops that ass hard and they realize that, this ain't a game. This ain't a game. So listen, the shakeup has happened. The NFL shakeup has happened. Now, here's my question to you, Z-Bot. This move, does this give you, and this is one of the questions that came in, and I gotta get that in there. David asked, Rico and Bot, does this actually change our expectations in terms of what we expect in postseason with bringing in a guy like Amari Cooper? I'll let you jump in on that.
I don't know if it changed my expectations. It just makes me feel way better. I mean, the Bills right now have not looked very good, and they're 4-2. The last 3 weeks, the Bills have not looked very good. Last night, they had a couple of really decent drives. They had a couple of great defensive plays, but collectively, the last 3 weeks have not been good. These Bills are 4-2 going into unarguably the easiest stretch of their schedule. I don't know if it changes my expectations from, oh my God, we're back into being the 1 seed contender or the top Super Bowl contender. No. But it certainly makes me feel way better about what they have at their disposal going into the postseason. I always just felt like the Bills needed one more guy in order to add another element. The Bills seemed like they were missing an entire element to this offense that defenses were starting to figure out. If you go back and watch the game last night, Josh Allen had absolutely nobody open down the field the entire game. What plays were made down the field, Rico? Josh Allen running to the sideline on a bomb to Ray Davis, unreal play. The bomb to Curtis Samuel down the field, that was a broken play. The touchdown to Knox, that was a broken play. I don't even know how the hell Josh Allen wound up getting that. It's just unbelievable. They have nobody open down the field.
You know what,
now that you bring in a wide receiver 1, Rico, that can potentially start to open up, and I don't know how you don't feel at least better about the Bills' situation overall.
I see. This is you just stark reminder that we needed to make this move.
Yeah.
Like you just said 3 separate plays, big plays in this game that Josh Allen made with his feet, and it was him escaping the pocket. Him, not able to get the ball off on a natural play where you can take his drop, stand in the pocket, and deliver. You have to break the pocket to get one to Kincaid. Break the pocket, not to Kincaid, to Dawson Knox. To break one to Curtis Samuel on the sideline, right? Ray Davis. We'll talk about Ray Davis in just a moment on the other side. So there comes a time where, like, all right, man, I need to be able to naturally run this play to its entirety, and instead of me adding 4 more seconds of it, because now everybody's on a scramble play. It's got to change, and I'm hoping that this is the move that we can now look like the offense that it should look like, because we have not been able to run a Joe Brady offense, and I got to give him a bit of a bone here. It's hard to run your offense when you don't have the pieces to run it, right? That offense was rolling the last 6. I mean, at the end of the last season, because you had Diggs that was a great route runner, could get separation and do all those things. Right now, you have a guy that can allow you to now run these routes. Like, if I have a guy that's clearing, okay, now my guy can go underneath. But if your ass is too slow to clear, that underneath route's not going to do nothing for me. Because now you got a cornerback that can see 2 things. It's pretty much what Teron Johnson was able to do yesterday, right? He was focusing on Lazard, then was able to divert his eyes to Mike Williams' bum ass. And he was able to make two plays in one. No different than what Bernard did. Bernard did the same thing.
No different what Taylor Rapp did, which was dude, that holy hell. And I've never seen a guy play better.
Honestly, man, I bring all this up to say that this offense will now start to kind of look like an offense, and dare I say, we might start to look like the offense that we should have been looking like. I mean, as we ended the year last year. Now that we have Amari Cooper, and now it allows guys to get healthy. That's another thing. Amari Cooper comes in, a healthy guy, and now you get Khalil Shakir that's going to go into getting healthy. He's got another week to kind of get better, and then we go from there.
Let's stack the pieces together real quick of what we saw last night and what could potentially be opened up here, because last night I thought I saw a lot of good that I was hoping to re-see or see more of that would lead me to think that the Bills could get back on track with Joe Brady. One of them, of course, was Dalton Kincaid. Finally, I don't want to say big game, but under the standards in which the Bills have set for themselves in terms of receiving this year, a 6-reception game for 51 yards is a big game for any guy right now catching balls for the Bills. They finally got him involved. But the ability for Josh Allen to make plays and then for them to run the ball the way that they did, which we were starting to see cracks of the last couple of weeks, they were going away from it and not doing as well in that department as we were accustomed to over the last year and a half, and to do it without James Cook. They scored 20 points last night on one of the best defenses in the league. I know second half was not great at all, and it's got to be better. But this Bills team last night showed you that if they're able to get a wide receiver 1 in there to open up that second level that hasn't been there, they've been scoring, more points than I think any other team with any other quarterback would do with this current setup. It's hard to think that they can't go another step with a guy like Amari Cooper. And that's not just because he's going to go in and produce enough himself to get to that next step, but everybody else around him, I think, is now freed up just that much more. I think that goes a long way right now with what the Bills currently have on their roster.
It absolutely does go a long way. So this is, and another thing that this plays a part in, it kind of brings up offensive morale. the offensive morale now goes up because now you bring in more, and not even just offensive morale, the morale around the team now because they're showing that
it's
you're
that bounce we always talk about, Rico, but in a good way.
absolutely. So now this should allow the running game to flourish even more. Now this should allow, guys to space out and get things, all right? Joe Brady can now start to do it. So it lightens up and brings the morale up for everybody. And guess what? It brings the morale up for the defense because now we get sustainable drives, sustainable long drives. It gives the defense a little bit of time to get a breather and get hungry to get back onto the field and get the ball back to the offense. So listen, we might be talking a big game and he comes in and is a dud, or which I really can't see a 5-time Pro Bowler becoming a dud. I saw a clip of Amari Cooper. I think the Browns were down bad, and it showed Amari Cooper hustling right till the last bit. He caught a snap, got a slant, got knocked the heck out pretty much, and got back up and was ready to go. Guys that are losing, man, they're not trying so hard. But this guy plays the game the way it's supposed to be played, and it's the best way to have this guy come in and be part of this Bills team. This only elevates this whole squad.
Yes, because that stuff matters. Like last night, Taylor Rapp made that tackle on Breece Hall at the 3-yard line. That saved the game. The Jets had to settle for a field goal on that drive, and the Bills wound up winning because of it. Those plays matter. And I think that this guy, like you keep alluding to, he just seems to fit with the Bills.
Buddy.
And I think that seems obvious as the longer you watch the Bills, the more you start to realize guys that seem to fit well. This just seems like it fits well. Because as bad as it was in Cleveland, Rico, it's not like you really heard Amari Cooper like banging the table to get out of there. We obviously understand why he'd want to be out of there. But I think many other wide receivers would put up way more of a fight to get out of there than I think you saw Amari Cooper put up.
Listen, I think he's going to flourish in this offense, man. And personalities matter, man. You tend to kind of thrive when you gel with someone. Like if I didn't gel with you and I hated you in the background, bro, this thing there'd be no chemistry. I would hate every take you had, and I'd just be whatever. You know what? I actually see it different. And bro, when you get along, and there's a chemistry, there's a gel, and I guess there's a common goal, a common ground, and knowing, like you said earlier, it's like going to Pelican Bay. Hold up, Pelican Bay. Wait a minute now. He know what he left. He's in luxury now. You're in the warm embrace of Josh Allen and Buffalo, right? What's the saying for people that live in Buffalo? Something about neighbors. What's the saying, Buffalo people? Your friendly neighbor. What's your saying? What's the saying for Buffalo? Buffalo has a saying, right? For something about your friendly neighbors like that. Bro, you came to the right city. You came to the right. I know somebody's gonna hook me up with that, but you came to the right city, and this city is going to embrace you and go from there. So big shout out to these guys, and I think big things are going to happen with these guys, man. There we go. Home of the City of Good Neighbors. That's the one. City of Good Neighbors, bro. We're going to embrace this guy, and he's going to love it. So by next year, now there's going to have a conversation to be had. Right now, it's a rental. And now it's like, all right, man. So you like what you see? Are you trying to stick around? Or do you want to test yourself in free agency? So it's a pretty much an audition for us and an audition for himself. I'm sure he doesn't want to go out and play for another team. He knows what the good quarterbacks are out there. Yo, I could go to Jacksonville, or I can go to the Steelers. Where else? Give me another quarterback team that's not doing well right now. I can go to the Raiders.
I was going to say, yeah, they gotta find a way to.
Hey, send me to the Colts for A.R. Richardson. Nah, bro. There's only a select few of these quarterbacks that are out there. So be smart about where you go. Davante, he went to where he was comfortable and he knew it was his quarterback. You just don't know how long your quarterback's going to be there for. I mean, not everybody's Tom Brady that can play well into their 40s. Well, how old is Tom Brady when he retired? 43?
42 or 3, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So Amari Cooper, I think he's going to be all right. I think he's going to be great. And I hope that he acclimates himself rather quickly because Davante is already saying, yo, I'm playing by week 7. I'm in there. But, I mean, they don't got a choice. They need that brother ASAP because they need wins. They absolutely need wins. And if he doesn't play, yo, the Steelers are going to eat these Jets alive. They're going to eat these Jets alive. So, Amari Cooper, welcome to the Bills, baby.
Should we take a look and see what the overall impact is on the betting market on where these Bills currently stand? Because, Rico, I got a feeling you're going to like it.
Oh, talk to me. What do we got?
Now on BetUS, the Bills are such a fat favorite to win the East. Their line isn't even on the board. The BetUS is taking it down to readjust it. That's how much of a favorite the Bills currently are to win the East. But they do have the 3 others up here on your screen. The Jets are now plus 500 to win the East. The Dolphins plus 750. The Patriots plus 10,000. So the Jets the other day were about plus 250-ish or so. That loss last night. And this is also, by the way, this is factoring in the addition of Davante Adams. The betting markets do not lie to you. This factors in how the Jets are being viewed regardless of the addition of Davante Adams or not. They are now plus 500 to win the East. That is including the addition of Davante Adams. So they are plus 500. The Bills aren't even up on the board. They will be at some point, I'm sure, within the next few hours here. But they are an overwhelming favorite to win it, and that's going into the easiest part of their schedule. And speaking of that schedule, just like I mentioned earlier, I'll just go ahead and show you. Right now, the Bills are a 9-point home favorite against Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. A 9-point home favorite. I mean, that's about as big of a favorite as you can possibly be in the league, Rico. And just taking a quick look on BetUS here, that's tied for the biggest spread of the weekend, only with the Commanders going against, of course, probably the worst team in football, the Carolina Panthers. But if you're interested about the Jets as well, because I was interested to see what their line was against the Steelers, and they wound up taking that line down because they're adjusting it based on the Davante Adams numbers. But I do know that game is within a point or two last I saw. So that's supposed to be a great game. Meanwhile, the Bills game is supposed to be lopsided. If the Bills can find a way to win, the Jets find a way to lose again, you think that plus 500 is huge right now for the Jets. It's only going to get wider. Speaking of which, YouTube 150 promo code over on BetUS. It'll get you 150% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit, and 125% bonus on your next two deposits after that. So right now, Rico, before Amari Cooper has even played a snap, the Bills are an overwhelming favorite to clinch this division. They just got to continue to build themselves up for postseason ball. That's the way I see it right now.
And here's another way I see it. How does this look to you? I need to show you something here. I want to know what your thoughts are. Does this, when you look at this lineup of Bills weapons, does it now kind of say, okay, now you got a little something. Now you got me now. Now you got my attention. And this is, I'm referring to the teams that are going to have to face the Bills and how they view our offense and our personnel. Josh Allen obviously is one of the best in the game. He continues to wow people, and we'll get into you being at the game in just a moment. But Josh Allen, James Cook, you can slide in Ray Davis in there because we got to talk about my guy Ray Davis, right? We can. Amari Cooper, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman. Now that I can rock with. That I can say, okay, we got some, because you got your route runner in Amari Cooper, you got your jump ball possession receiver in Keon Coleman. That's got a tiny bit of separation. He'll get better. And you got your do-it-all slot receiver that can play outside as well in Khalil Shakir. And then Dalton Kincaid. Bam. Now that's an offense I can get by. Listen, chat. Now does that look like something that, all right, now we can go up against your Chiefs. Now we can go up against, you know what I'm saying, your Ravens yet again. You ain't going, Nate Wiggins, you ain't going to lock me up like you did last time. Now we got someone that can get separation. And if Amari can get busy, everybody else gets busy. And I love this. And you know what? Throw in Dawson Knox in there too. Why not? Why not? Get Dawson Knox in there, man. Love to see what we're seeing right now, and it's fantastic. Now, that being said, Amari Cooper out of the way, right? We got the Bills with their fourth win of the season. They go 4-2. Titans are next. By the way, I was watching Will Levis clips. Oh my gosh,
dude,
this guy.
It's the funniest thing of all time. He literally sent a dude to the hospital on Sunday. He went right into that ball guy's knee.
I thought the Titans were gonna be a force to reckon with, because Will Levis is gonna take his this guy 8 targets to Calvin Ridley, and Ridley was pissed. Ridley was absolutely pissed. And of those 8 targets, 4 of them, or maybe 5 of them, were absolutely terrible passes.
Yeah,
we should be able to handle business against the Titans. We should.
Yeah, like offensive aside, it just feels like McDermott should have a heyday against a guy.
Oh my gosh, should he ever?
Like that should be a clinic.
The Titans defense is a good defense.
Yes.
If we do what we're supposed to do and not turn the ball over and do what we're naturally able to do, we'll be fine. But golly, the Titans offense, led by Will Levis, terrible.
They've only scored above 17 points once this entire season, and it was against the Dolphins, who have been absolutely abysmal. This Titans team cannot score. Like you mentioned, it's a decent defense for sure. It's definitely the reason they've even been competitive in some of these games. But the Bills with Sean McDermott, I feel like should have the ability to really make a rough outing for Will Levis, especially on the road too. For Will Levis, I mean, it's not easy.
Buddy, we better stomp the yard. Stomp the yard on the freaking Tennessee Titans. That's exactly what it is. And if you guys are too young to know about stomp the yard, go look it up. You'll know what I'm talking about. So let's get into it, man. You're sick. You're sick as a dog.
By the way, I've been feeling better doing this. I needed this, by the way.
Okay, this is good. We're talking Bills football. It gives you a little joy in your heart. I got the joy. Listen, so let's get into it, man. You go to the Jets game. You're in the Lions' den, if you will, right? MetLife Stadium. You're meeting with people. Who'd you meet with out there?
Man. So that was great because, as you know, my thoughts on MetLife are not glowing. I do not love MetLife at all. I do not love the environment. I do not love the tailgate. I don't love the stadium. I don't love the traffic. I don't love the fact that the whole thing is just a giant concrete slab, essentially. There's really no diversification to the tailgate scene. And maybe we're spoiled with that in Buffalo because you can go from you can go to the parking lot to somebody's house or somebody's garage to an open grass field. So maybe we're just spoiled in Buffalo. I don't know. But the tailgate was great. So I went with Caroline, my brother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, and met up with a lot of people. So met up with the thigh doc who had tearaway pants on that when you took them off would then go into cut off Zuba spandex, which was incredible. Thigh doc was doing the moves all night long. He was on fire. So we were hanging out with thigh doc. Met up with TD, Richie, Colby, Dan, all of the roundtable boys. That was great. Good to see them as always, especially TD coming all the way in from Florida. I don't get to see him. I mean, I don't get to see these guys ever, but the fact that he was able to make it out of the hurricane.
From Florida for this?
Yeah, I mean, during the hurricane too. And he said his family was doing well, which I was happy to hear about because I know that they were kind of near the storm. But he made it all the way in. Colby representing the Pats. So you got to give them credit because they don't even have a stake in that game last night. And they still show up for the boys. Heart goes out to Richie because, my God, that game was abysmal last night. To be on the losing end of it, I don't even know how much worse it could feel because it didn't even feel good walking out of there, how bad that freaking game was. And we'll talk about it here in a minute. And then, of course, Dan, my main man, was so good to see him as always. And then I got to meet a ton of loyal BF supporters. And there's nothing that makes me happier than doing that. I got to meet a bunch of them. It was great, including my main man, Bartek, who brought me gifts from the local Polish grocery store near his house, which I was not expecting. That was terrific. He brought me like these little bourbon barrels that are like chocolate barrels filled with booze. Poor Bartek said something to me on Twitter. He's like, I hope I'm not the one who got you sick. Trust me, you're not.
I was about to say, he's the one who got your ass sick.
No, he's not the reason. I was sick going into it. I'm lucky I even survived that game. But that was terrific. And Bartek is as good of a dude as I thought he would be, just interacting with him over all these years on here. Got to meet up with my man named Graham. He said he's been listening to us forever. My man Bobby, who had nothing but great things to say about us over at BF. And I believe my man Eric was his name. He's coming out of it was hilarious. He's coming out of the porta potty, and I'm waiting in line for the porta potty. He just walks up to me. And I at first I'm like, I don't know, did I do something? He just walks out to me. He goes, hey man, can I get a picture with you? And I'm like, oh yeah, dude, totally. And he's like, we had an inside joke with me and my girlfriend had an inside joke. If I find you, I got to take a picture with you. So I'm like, all right. So we take a picture, and then I come out, and he's on the phone with his girlfriend, and they're both loyal listeners. Yeah, I come out, and he's got her on FaceTime, and I got to say hello to her. I believe his name was Eric. If not, I apologize, but he was a great dude. It was so nice to talk to his girlfriend as well. So got to meet a bunch of loyal listeners, a bunch of friends of ours. BT, it was an honor. Seriously, been talking forever, and it was so great to meet up with you. But got to meet up with some great BF supporters, some great content creators. Overall, just great people, top to bottom. And the tailgate was great. And
so let me ask you a question.
We paid off in the stadium, Rico.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
because it was extremely weird for me when I think I went to the first Bills game and I brought the wifey with me,
Mhm.
and we just started to kind of get rolling with BF, and there was a bit of a buzz around us, and I'm getting pulled left, right. It was weird for me at first. How weird for you was it? Like, hey, Z-Bot, let me get you. Can I get a picture? Was it odd? Because it's because like people listen to us. I mean, if I saw somebody that I listen to and I finally get to meet them, I'd be geeked to meet them as well. If I listen to their podcast every single day, was it odd or was it kind of flattering to like, man, this is actually pretty cool?
No, never odd. It's the most flattering thing ever. I always just assume that you and I are talking into a void. I never think that anyone is actually like, I always just assume you and I are coming on here talking to each other, even though I can see the numbers and I interact with you guys. I always just assume we're doing this for fun. And every time I get to meet someone in person, it really validates the reason why I love doing this so much. And I've got to meet so many great people over the years. It's been incredible. And it's once again, it never gets old, not because it's like some ego stroking thing. It's not that at all. What it is, it's more of like a, I couldn't be more flattered and stoked that we get to share, the fandom with everybody together after games, before games. I know, Bartek always tells me like after games, the ability to come on and talk about it and vent about it. So like meeting everyone, it just makes me so happy that we get to do what we do. And like Namdi's saying, like I've always just assumed, I have to assume this, Namdi, because yeah, I'm like, every time I meet someone, I can't believe that there's actually people who are kind enough to listen to us. And it always makes my day when I get to meet people. It's the best.
It is truly the best. And I feel like anytime I meet someone, I feel humbled.
Yeah.
And then I feel that like, because there's an audience that listen to us, young, older, I don't want to say old, older, right? And everything in between, the message that we spread is important too. We can come on here and be as negative as possible and not give people a reason to laugh and have this sometimes is an outlet for folks. And I noticed that this is an important platform that we have. And the fact that you're able to go meet people, now it makes it even more of a thing that we have to do is get together, get one of these games, even if it's an away game.
Big time.
Rico Bot, we're going to New England. This is where we're at. Meet us there. We're going to rock out. I mean, one of these days we're gonna have
the funniest one was Bartek's buddy. Bartek was with a couple of his high school buddies, which they were good dudes too. And the one guy goes to me, he goes, "Oh, is this the guy you're always talking about, Z-Dog?" And I just thought that was the funniest thing ever.
Is that the Z-Dog guy? That is wild.
But you're right, Rico. And Bartek told me last night, he's like, now we just got to get to Rico. And it's moments like last night, like when I'm walking out of the pisser and I get to meet somebody that I never would have met otherwise. Like if we're able to organize something and really get all these great people together, man, we have got to do it. I'm telling you, we talk about it more than you imagine. It's so hard. Rico's in Nova Scotia, Pierre's out in Virginia, Bobby's in where? Carolina, is it?
Carolina.
Yeah, I'm in Connecticut. We're gonna make it happen at some point. That is a promise because it
has to happen.
It has to. Yeah, there's no other way to put it. It would be way too much fun, and we're gonna make it happen sooner than later.
Bartek says, "You guys are the most authentic and genuine Bills podcast out there, and that is a fact. A family, it's a family out there, man. We appreciate that, and that's the thing, man. You want to be able to, at least for me, if I'm listening to a podcast, I can go to a podcast and really get the numbers and facts. But like, then I'm out. All right. I got what I needed. I'm out of here. I actually want to connect and kind of get and hang out with these guys. These are cool people. And listen, I've met a lot of people and super dope, man. It's freaking amazing. Looking forward to it, man. It's a good time. But let's get into this game though. Because
I mean, let's, because I can't even like,
because although we won this game, I got bones to pick. I didn't really get into it yesterday because I was enjoying the win. I loved it. The fact that we beat the Jets, which is the team I hate the most. It used to be the Dallas Cowboys. It used to be the Patriots. The Patriots now have fallen down the wayside. The Chiefs are up there, but the Jets are number one for me. Respect them, but I hate them at the same time. And the fact that we were able to beat that ass is great. I mean, there's a new saying now, belt to ass. We certainly gave them belt to ass. I'll tell you that right now. Now, you were there. You got to see these guys go at it. You saw Josh Allen. I mean, it's not the first time you've seen Josh Allen go live, but you got to see Josh live. You got to see the defense live without Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. I mean, this is a new team.
Yeah, it's true. This is the first time I've seen this new team. That's a good point.
Absolutely.
I didn't even think about that.
So,
yeah.
as you're watching it, who stood out to you now from the bird's eye view? You're looking down at the field and you're looking at Josh. Is Josh let's start with this. Is Josh as amazing as you see him on TV when he's live? Is it just crazy how you see this guy do this? Do you see it in slow motion before it happens? Or is it just, holy shit, he did it out of nowhere?
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot to get into here, and I'll try to be as like concise as I can be, but we got time here, so why not?
Let's do it.
So let's start from the beginning. So I was dead sober. I like Bartek said he could kind of notice it in me last night, and TD's or technically TD Thigh Doc said something to me too. He's like, "Oh, grab a beer." I felt like ass. The fact that I actually was able to watch this game without being in a stall the whole time is a miracle. I don't know how I made it through this game. So I'm already roughed up, and we get into the stadium, and I have to explain to, I love him to death, my wife and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. I have to explain to him, just because
choose your words carefully.
I know. Just because the game starts at 8:15 doesn't mean you go into the stadium at 8:10. That isn't how it works. Okay. So they listened to me. It was fine. We went in plenty early. We gotta go in. We gotta go in. No. The problem was I picked the one section in the stadium that had no signage. None. No matter where you looked, there was never a sign indicating where this section was. Rico, we did a whole lap around the stadium. But luckily for us, when we found the seats, they were primo. The reason why we couldn't find it, it was weird. It was like it was his own little section. It was like this sliver between one section and another section. And we had the aisle, and it was great. Now, I thought it was so great. Oh, so it was like the most perfect all 22 angle where you weren't all the way up. You weren't all the way low. We were in the corner end zone of where the Hail Mary occurred. In the back corner in the second row. So it was like a perfect seat. And I don't ever really I don't give a damn about where I sit. I'll sit in the best seat, the worst seat. If I'm in the house, cool with me. We lucked. I always wait. Like, I always wait to the last minute.
Yep.
To get them. And we just kind of lucked into these. I didn't even know what they were going to be like. And they wound up being perfect. And they were a great.
Oh, you didn't know what you were going into. You're like, yo,
I never do. Yeah, I just grab them and I'm like, hopefully they're decent.
I absolutely respect that. I can't do that. I need to know where the fuck I'm sitting.
No, I know. I will say, I knew they were aisle, which is why I grabbed them. I like having the aisle. My dad's always instilled that in me because my dad's like, if we have the aisle, we can do whatever we want, which is kind of nice. It's a good point.
Well, hold on. Back it up. The aisle seat.
Yeah.
But you don't get to be amongst the crew, the middle. You know what I mean?
You do not want that on the road. You don't want that on the road.
You're on the road. You're right.
I agree with you at the Bill Stadium, like at the Ralph.
Oh yeah,
my God, dude, you can throw me. You can throw me on top of the lights. I could give a shit where I'm at the Ralph. If I'm at a Way Stadium, though, I would prefer to not be entrenched in the middle of it. And it's funny because my sister-in-law, and granted, there's bad eggs everywhere. I'm not trying to say anything definitive here, but she's like, man, I do not like this fan base. That's what my sister-in-law said. And I'm like, oh, why? Is it that is a Jets? Or is it the fireman ad? Get him right out. And I'm watching the broadcast back when I get home, and it's like, man, thank God we beat these guys. Because the beginning of the broadcast is fireman ad, and he's doing this, right? He's got the thing going. It's like, thank God we won this game. Oh my God. Thank the Lord. But I will say, we get into this game, and the first drive, I could not believe the Bills' ability to bully the Jets defense the way they did on that first drive.
Buddy.
Couldn't believe it. Rico, they ran the ball 8 of 9 plays and got in the end zone. And it wasn't even like every play was going for a first down. I think they ran 9 plays, and I think 5 of them individually went for first downs.
Crazy.
And it was right off the rip. First handoff to Ty Johnson, right around the edge, 12-yard gain. And this is credit to a variety of factors, but I think they were probably hearing the noise a bit, and they were probably feeling the pressure of the last couple of games where they had not looked their best, and we know that they were capable of more. It also helps that Deion Dawkins hates the Jets more than you and I combined, which I absolutely
love it.
I love it. That is dead in this sport, and that's one of the million reasons why Deion Dawkins will always be one of my favorite Bills. But I think you saw that on full display. They went out and punched the Jets in the mouth on that first drive. But I'll give the Jets credit on their first drive. That was the first I think they had scored on their opening drive all year long, Rico. So you have to give them credit for their ability to go and move the ball the way that they did, opening things up as well. But throughout the duration of the first half, it felt like as time was going on, the Bills were starting to show the separation between these two organizations currently. The Jets were hanging with them early, and the Bills were really starting to show the difference between the two. Please play this clip. This is the best. This is the best. I mean, Dion hates these guys.
Absolutely everything. The fact that Dion played that, I had to stop them and play that because
it's the
I
best.
I thought it was fantastic.
That himself. Like, when do you see stuff like that's incredible?
Buddy, that's when you know the hate is real. And I live that. Love that. Anyway, please proceed. We'll run the ball down their throats. We're just dominating.
Down their throat, utter domination on that opening drive. And that is what I think that had to be a collective sigh of relief for Bills fans, because they had not done that the last 2 weeks. The ability to do that on the opening drive against what I feel to be the best defense that they've faced this year, especially in the trenches there. I thought that was super impressive. That was something I wasn't expecting. You also factor in, Rico, you're doing that with your backup running backs too. And that, of course, was a major storyline of this football game. I don't think anybody would have expected on the first drive of the game for the Bills to bully the Jets defensive line while doing so with two backup running backs at the helm. That was extremely impressive. They weren't able to do that throughout the entire duration of the game. It kind of came back to earth, but their ability to do it early in the game, Rico, certainly set a tone that I think lasted at least the full duration of the first half, and it ultimately wound up being one of the biggest differences because the Bills don't go down and do what they do there in a tight margin game like this. You know, who knows how things end up going down. But this game, to me, if we're talking about it in totality, this is one of the worst football games I have ever witnessed in my life. And I'm kind of elated that I was at it. I was trying to explain to my brother-in-law just how unique of a football game that was in probably the worst way imaginable.
It's the worst because you probably thought this was a normal game. All the flags and this and that. You're like, no,
that's the thing, Rico. Even they, and they watch football, but obviously there's a difference between people like us who probably should belong in a padded room somewhere and people like them who are casual football fans. It got to the point where Bills fans and Jets fans just seemed to collectively start rooting against the refs. It really felt like there was a point in time throughout this game late where it just felt like neither fan base really gave a shit who won anymore. It just felt unfair. It just felt like the game was ruined. Yes, there was 204 yards, and that was 204 penalty yards. That was only on accepted penalties, Rico, for 22 penalties.
Right.
That doesn't include the offsetting penalties. I think there was at least two occurrences with offsetting penalties.
You're right.
I believe there was anywhere from 26 to 30 total flags thrown in this game. That was tied for the most all season in terms of accepted penalties. The yardage was the most all season. It was egregious. It was unfathomable. And this is coming from somebody who's watched football his whole life and has seen his fair share of poorly officiated football games. I have never seen anything like it in my life. To me, the icing on the cake was when they came back from commercial break and you couldn't even tell in the stands. And they threw an unsportsmanlike conduct on Deion Dawkins during the commercial break. I've never seen that in my life. So I'm trying to explain to my brother-in-law because he thought I was.
Did you hear the explanation?
No, yeah, Deion said it was a water boy.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
I thought it was hilarious. I mean, at least there was something funny behind it, I guess. But I was trying to explain to my brother-in-law because he kind of understood how crazy that game was. But I was just saying to him, we just witnessed 22 accepted flags, 4 missed kicks, and a Hail Mary all in one football game. You're never going to see that again. You're never going to see it again. And I said the fact that the Bills won is all that matters because I know what it feels like to lose a football game like that. It's sick to lose, but to lose in a scum fest like that game was last night is 10 times worse because it just feels like you didn't have a chance. And I understand that feeling. Jets fans probably felt like last night You get the holding call on the touchdown that would have given them a 24-20 lead.
Right.
It backs them up. They have to settle for a field goal. They miss 2 field goals of their own. They have multiple flags. They throw the interception at the end. The Jets fans are feeling sick to their stomach right now, and they arguably needed that win more than the Bills did.
Would you say that they believe they should have won that game?
Of course. And if I was a Bills fan, I would have felt probably the same way on the other end.
Are you kidding me? I thought that we actually although they put up a lot, they lit us up, man. They lit us up for freaking yards against us. It nearly had 400 yards of total offense. But I honestly felt, if not for that stupid Hail Mary that you're gonna take me down because it was in your freaking corner, right? If not for that Hail Mary, bro, this game would have been over with.
Yes.
We had the momentum. And then they let that BS go through. So now take me into the mind of Z-Bot. Take me into the crowd. Take me into your lovely wife and your brother-in-law and sister-in-law. You're watching this go down. Time is ticking. It's the last play of the half. And you see this take off. And I'm going to tell you where you take off. You see Aaron Rodgers. You're probably watching the Jumbotron, and you're watching Aaron Rodgers from afar. You're like, okay, nothing's happening. Oh, he's heaved it. Ball's in the air. Take me through what's going on.
So like you mentioned, like it was such a weird game in the sense that like Breece Hall, and we talked about this. We had a feeling it was going to be a Breece Hall game because it hadn't been up until now. They've had the worst rushing offense in the league. The Bills have one of the worst rushing defenses. And, you know, he had 113 yards, his best performance of the year. But Rodgers played pretty well. Their offensive line is awful. How he is still upright is honestly a minor miracle. It's terrible. And he played pretty damn well. I thought based on how he's played up until this point this year, Rico. I mean, Allen Lazard and Garrett Wilson both going for over 100. With Teron Johnson back, I wouldn't have guessed that. I wouldn't have guessed Allen Lazard having over 100 there. But to your point, like regardless of these numbers, the game felt well in hand for Buffalo. It was 20-10. And this is, to me, this is the most. Nothing shocks me anymore. It never will. It never will. The Billsian Bills continue to never stun me in the most stunning moments. So it's 20-10, and here's how I view it: 20-10, and the Bills get the ball back at half.
Exactly.
I'm like, dude, I don't know where the Jets are offensively overcoming this, especially if the Bills go down and score on the opening drive. I just don't see it. Right?
Got it.
So there's about 8 seconds left in the second half, and Caroline's like, oh, what happens? Or I forget what she said. She's like, should I go to the bathroom, or what happens now, or something like that? And you want to know what I said? Yeah, I bet you can guess what I said.
Just wait.
No, I guess I probably should have said that because I should have known better. I said, oh, the Jets will probably just run the ball out and then it'll be halftime. That's what I said. That's what I said. Nope. So they throw that. So they throw that like BS pass on the outside. Yep. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Just take it to half. Like, you know, like let's
ball out, get out of here.
Yes. So here's what happens. And it was so funny because I couldn't even enjoy the spectacular play because of how stupid I am. So right behind me, there's like a 10,000-foot screen. If you've been to MetLife, you know that there's 4 screens. Each are in the corners. Correct. I'm in the back left corner of where that touchdown occurred. So I could not have been in a more perfect spot to see it.
It's funny.
But the Jumbotron is, I'm not kidding you, where the Steve Tasker jersey behind me, that's how far away I am from this Jumbotron, right? So Rodgers is dipping around doing his dance, and I'm like, I turn around to the Jumbotron to see, I'm like, wait, what's he trying to do here? As I turn back around, the crowd's going nuts, but the ball's already back on the floor. So I'm like, oh, man, that must have been close, but he didn't catch it. Then the ref comes in with the touchdown signal. I'm like, wait, what? Then I turn around again, and I'm like, oh, he 1,000% had full possession of that before they yanked the ball. That's a touchdown. And then immediately, Rico, the highs and lows of football, the instantaneous emotion swing from feeling beyond confident in the Bills' ability to get out of here with a pretty comfortable victory to now thinking, oh, they're going to lose this football game. It was instantaneous, because we talked about this a little bit off air, and I was trying to explain this to Caroline because they couldn't understand why I all of a sudden was like beyond pessimistic about the football game. And I said, it's very hard to win football games when stuff like that goes against you. When those moments happen against you, it usually means it's just not your night. And when you're a Bills fan, that compounds times 1,000. And when you go into the second half and you have Tyler Bass miss a field goal, when you have that brutal roughing on A.J. Epinesa that allowed the Jets to extend their drive for their only touchdown drive of the second, or excuse me, their only scoring drive of the second half, you can't help but think that the odds are stacked against you. And that's how I immediately felt that the second that ball was caught. And that's why I still can't believe the Bills got out of there victorious. As awful as that game was, Rico, didn't it not feel like it was just going to result in a Bills loss because of how bad everything was going, and it somehow didn't?
No, you know what? That's one sentiment that never crossed my mind.
Oh, good for you.
I knew we were going to win this game. I knew we were going to win this game. It was just like, how are we going to win it? And when it's just weird things were happening where I'm like, hold on. Tyler Bass misses an extra point? What? Okay.
He didn't just miss.
Extra point.
Can we talk about that for a second? He didn't just miss that
thing, man.
Do we want to talk about this right now, or do we want to save it for a little bit later? Him.
Yes. Talk about it right now. Yes.
Brian McManus is out there. I'm sorry. I've had enough. When I can't even confidently expect an extra point to be made anymore, that would have been if Greg Zuerlein didn't match Tyler Bass in net performance last night. The Jets win that football game. And once again, it goes back, and I'm glad I was right on this. It went back to what I said before the game. I don't have a ton of confidence in the Bills. I just have less confidence in the Jets. And what happened? Yep. The Bills missed two field goals or two kicks, and by the grace of God, the Jets somehow missed two kicks that wound up counting for even more than the two kicks the Bills missed.
Rough.
I'm done. I have zero confidence in the guy, and I know that there's gonna be a moment.
What does that mean?
I'm ready to listen to just about any alternative. That's what it means. Any alternative. I don't care what it is.
Get him out of here.
And I just saw someone say, did someone just say did the Packers sign McManus that I was not aware about? I thought he was available.
Not to my knowledge. I'm jealous of the Packers signed a kicker. We just don't know who. So if you guys find out who they signed, let me know, because listen, I saw somebody post this. It's like, listen, it's like you can cut Tyler Bass if you want to.
No, it's not 43 damn minutes ago. You know, why was this also not a move today? This happened 40 damn minutes ago, middle of this stream. Brandon McManus signs with the Green Bay Packers.
There it is.
What more do you need to see? There's going to come a moment in this season where the game is going to come down to his leg, and it's going to cost him. And it should have happened last night. If it weren't for Greg Zuerlein, and by the way, everybody was blaming the wind. The wind was 1,000 times worse outside the stadium than it was inside the stadium. I promise you. It felt 15 degrees warmer inside the stadium. It was freezing out last night. But it was way, way less of an impact inside the stadium than it was outside. Greg Zuerlein, if he does not match Tyler Bass last night, Rico, what are we talking about all day today? We're talking about three things. The refs, Hail Mary, Tyler Bass.
Oh, yeah.
We're lucky.
Oh, yeah.
This is why winning that game, the difference between winning a game like that and losing that game is night and day. Because that's all the Jets fans are talking about today. Greg Zuerlein, the refs, and, how the hell did we lose that football game, I guess, in a sense. I don't know what more you need to see. Last night, you got lucky in a sense that you had a game where Tyler Bass cost you, but you didn't lose the game. Are you waiting for the game in which he actually does cost you to make the move? And it looks like the Packers just made the move on the guy that was easily the most ready to go available kicker in the league, or not in the league currently. Where are you at? I know you got to feel as done as I am.
Buddy, listen. I'm at the point where Tyler Bass, if it's 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and I'm in between the 25-yard line, F a field goal. Go for it. I trust Josh Allen more than I trust Tyler Bass. That Tyler Bass is something else, man. His confidence is shot. If you're missing extra point kicks, bro, you're paid. Listen, they backed it up for a reason, to make it a level of difficulty. It used to be a lot closer. Point afters were just automatic. Now you really got to be accurate enough to make these things. You're going to cost us when it matters the most. And right now, listen, I want to feel bad.
Got that off the ground, that kick.
Bro,
he barely got it off the ground.
I want to feel bad for him. I want to, but I don't, because they paid him handsomely. They paid him as if he was going to be a franchise kicker for us. And fam, you're making people scratch their heads and say, yo, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And I get it. I get it. Kicking is not easy. I mean, if it's not easy, yo, go do something else, bro. Go do something else. We need the guys that got the nuts to, you know what I mean, stand there and just drill one. And it always seems, I don't know if you've noticed this, it always seems that when kicks are not supposed to be made, they're always made against the Bills. 59-yarder, bang, down the middle. 63 against the Bills, of course it's going to go down. You got a freaking 29-yard chip shot.
Of course. It's an annual tradition at this point.
Bro, it just always happens to be against the freaking Bills, and I'm sick of it. Yo, they got to do something about this guy. And unfortunately, we're going to have to hold on to him until the end of the season and then make a decision then. Because I can't see it happening any other way. That's the only way I see it happening. So here we are in this mess that we're in, because we just don't have the trust.
Last year was bad, and it's worse. He's at a 75% clip this year, Rico. He was at 82.8 last year. That was good for bottom, the bottom echelon of the league. And we said, because of the money paid, they're going to give him another crack. Hopefully he rebounds, because maybe it was just an off year last year. No. And that's not including the extra point, Rico. Last night, that extra point, I was concerned. I thought they might have to send an ambulance down to section 100, wherever it was, next to the field goal up right there, because I thought that ball might have actually killed somebody. That ball was about 100 miles an hour off his foot, 5 yards off the ground, projectile into the first into the first few stands there, first few rows there. I texted my dad. I go, was that block? I texted my dad. I go, is that block? Couldn't tell. He goes, nope. And he goes, Troy Aikman just said, I've seen better kicks on College Game Day this year. Because on how College Game, I don't know if you know this, because I know you're not a huge college football guy. On College Game Day, Rico, this will probably be hilarious to you, because you don't probably know this. On College Game Day, Rico, every week,
go ahead,
they pull a kid out of the crowd and put up $100,000 for him to make
to win $100,000. I've seen it.
Yes, and it's happened 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And Tyler Bass can't get the ball off the floor on an extra point. I saw somewhere earlier. And listen, I'm talking a little like rash here because of how frustrated I am. I saw someone earlier say, McManus is old and he doesn't have a great field goal percentage either. Unfortunately, that's where I'm at, where I'm just ready to start exploring options, because ask yourself this. If you were to pause the game in a moment like last week versus the Texans, the same situation the Texans were in, right? If you were to pause the game in that moment, or really in any moment now, and look yourself in the mirror and be 100% honest with yourself, are you saying with full confidence he's making this kick? And you know damn well the answer is no. And if that's the case, you got to start exploring options. You have to start exploring options. I don't care who it is. Nobody has any faith in that man to go out there and make a game-winning field goal for this team right now. They don't. And it's trickling into extra.
It's not a fun position to be. Nah, it's not fun. It's not fun. And now there it is. You just said it. It's trickling into extra points.
Well, here's Terrence. He's saying,
when did we get into this position?
Are you seeing this?
Relax on Bass. Would you rather him miss now or in the playoffs? What difference does it make?
I mean,
he can probably miss a kick that needs to get us into the playoffs. You need to make these kicks now, my guy.
A kick last year that would have sent a playoff game potentially to overtime, Terrence. It's the only reason we had this conversation going into the year. You know that. Look, I like Tyler Bass. Like, he always seemed like a really likable guy. And I think this is why you said earlier you want to feel bad for him. We go, as do I. The unfortunate reality here, we had this conversation in the car last night because Caroline doesn't quite understand how, and I totally get it. And it's funny when she brings up like common sense points like this, it hits home with me, or I'm like, man, yeah, you're right. In the NFL, like, she's kind of confused how guys can actually like miss these. Like, how this is their job, millions of dollars. Like, how is it to the point where some guys are great and some guys aren't? And I said, that's the craziness of it. And I said, that's why the greats are so valuable. I said, that's why the greats can literally play for 2 decades on the same team and no one bats the eye. Justin Tucker's been playing since I was in elementary school for the Ravens, right? I'm saying, like, that's the craziness of the position. And when you know you don't have that, the difference in a football club can truly be night and day. And the Bills do not have that right now.
I got an issue. I remember I was telling you about Taron Johnson and that Hail Mary.
Yep.
Take a look at this for real quick. And some folks that were listening to this stream the other day know what I'm talking about. Do you know who that guy is right there?
Which one?
Right here. Oh, I'm circling it. Can you see it? Oh, let me see it. You see this guy right here?
Yeah, Terrell Bernard or Christian Medford. Yeah,
that's Christian Bedford. All right. You got number 3 here, DeMar Hamlin. This here, I believe, is Taylor. This is Taylor Rapp.
Well, the Guardian cab literally gave him superpowers last night. That's Rapp.
That's Taylor Rapp. Who's this individual right here?
Taron Johnson.
What's that?
Is that Taron Johnson?
What's he doing? What's he doing?
Boxing out for a rebound? I have no idea.
What's he doing? He's backing that ass up is what he's doing. Bro, you're supposed to be in the air, backing that thing down, but you're sitting here with your hands on your thighs, getting ready to get to it. Come on, man. Oh, that shoot kills me, bro. Bro, I'm sick to my stomach when I see this. Boy, you better you were at the game. Was the DJ playing Juvenile? Was he playing Juvenile? Please tell me.
No, that was nuts.
This is unbelievable.
Crazy. You cannot.
My man's got his hands on his thighs, ready to back that up, man.
Oh my
I love Taron
God.
Johnson. That boy a dog, but right there, he in the dog position. Come on now, listen, bro.
That was crazy.
Right
everyone was so stunned. The shock that came over the stadium. But how about McDermott said they're going to probably trot out Keon Coleman now in future situations like that.
Oh, now you will. The 6'4" basketball player that knows how to high point of
whatever. You know what? If you can bang on McDermott for that play all you want. I'm not going to. You got 4 Bills defenders in the area. One of them might be the best at his position. Terrell Bernard, arguable up there as well. Taylor Rapp, the way he was playing last night. I mean, if they're going to come down with that ball, then screw me. I mean, F me to death.
Listen,
and that's exactly what
I tease because it's fun because we won. But
no, I know that's what I'm saying. That's why winning that game had to freaking happen, Rico.
It did.
I mean, my God, that was insane.
Did. But listen, I'll tell you this though, man. Taylor Rapp.
Oh my God!
I know some folks have been. This guy was like it was being circulated over social media. He was playing the position like it's supposed to be played. You come across the middle, you better be fearful that you get your head blocked off.
He won on that football game.
Dude, what a crucial tackle he saved on Breece Hall in the corner.
Yes, and that wasn't even the most impressive play of the night. That's why, dude, he was unbelievable last night. He had 3 plays, 3 game-altering plays.
Tell me.
Won the Bills the football game last night. That's one of them. And I think that's the one people are going to forget because it's an easy one to forget. It's probably the least memorable. If he doesn't make that tackle, and believe me, there's plenty of teams out there who see Breece Hall running that freely. I love how every time I put my thumb up, by the way, my computer does this little bubble thing. I don't know what goes on with it.
Do it again. That's pretty cool.
I know. Anyway,
so pretty cool.
Breece Hall wide open like that. It's like Don Beebe back in the day, right? Running down your guy and getting the tackle in. If that doesn't happen, the Jets wind up scoring a touchdown 2 plays later, but it's called back on a, you guessed it, flag, one of the 9,000 of the evening. It was a holding call. The Jets couldn't overcome it. The Jets settled for a field goal. If the Bills do, or if Taylor Rapp rather does not make that tackle, Breece Hall walks into the end zone. The Jets go up 24-20. The Bills would have had to have scored a touchdown. That wasn't looking like a great possibility in the second half, the way things were going. 2 other plays. The play that he makes, two of the greatest legal hits I've seen all year long.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson in the back of the end zone And by the way, DeMar Hamlin made a really good play on the ball on this too. It was a collaborative effort. DeMar Hamlin's on the back end of it. But, dude, Taylor Rapp comes in and lights that boy up like Rockefeller Plaza on Christmas Day, dude. That thing was a beauty of a hit. Came in, Garrett Wilson, it took him a couple minutes to get up off the ground off of that.
Oh, he was winded.
He was winded. Big time. And that was a legal-ass hit. That was a beautiful hit. Garrett Wilson catches that ball 99 out of 100 times. If that hit doesn't come in the way that it did, that would have been game-altering. And then the greatest legal hit I've seen a Bills player make since Milano hit what's-his-face for the Dolphins there. And that was the greatest tackle I've ever seen in my entire life. But that hit over the middle, was that on Lazard, Rico? Was it Lazard that hit was on?
Oh, you know what? Let me try to find it. I'm going to try to find it.
That hit,
try to get in there.
When you factor in timing, when you factor in playmaking, when you factor in how crucial a moment in the game it was, that's one of those hits a high school football coach should show to his team once a week. I mean, it was the tight end Namdi. I wasn't sure if it was Lazard. It was the tight end.
Was it Conklin?
That's what
it was saying. Conklin that he hit.
That's tight end. Okay, Conklin. That sounds right. Yep, it was Conklin. That sounds about right. Dude, that hit, and mind you, he's bigger than Rapp too. He's got some pounds on him, right?
I'm trying to find it right now, but I'm gonna find it when I do. It's gonna be.
I'd love to see it again. I mean, that's one of those hits, dude. And you know what's funny, Rico? Being in the crowd, I did not know he had a Guardian cap on until I came home and rewatched the game. I had no clue.
You couldn't tell, huh?
Nope, not even a little bit.
Listen, on TV you couldn't tell, but if you get a close up,
I know.
I'm gonna see if I can I can give you a close up here. If you get a close up, it is very weird to see that thing. It doesn't even look real. Let me see if I could get you guys a little closer on that.
It literally looks like a Martian.
Look at that thing.
It looks like, remember that big gigantic Bills hat that Josh Allen wore at the end of Thursday Night Football last year? Man. That's what it looks like.
That is actually wild. I didn't realize that's what it looked like.
Dude, I don't give a shit. If it keeps these guys safe and lets them play like that, you know what I'm saying, Rico? Bro, like if it keeps them safe and lets them play like that, then dude, they all should put it on.
Bro, everybody play with a damn Guardian cap on. Go play like a 1980s safety.
I mean, Josh Allen with a Guardian cap on. I mean, he could legitimately become a human freight train, like unstoppable.
No, but that boy was absolutely lights out. Loved everything that he was.
Rico. He was incredible.
Taylor Rapp was.
Again, that's a guy from McDermott's cast off, land of misfit toys that no one would expect anything of. That probably won the game for these Bills last night off of an injury, no less. Taylor Rapp's been banged up. I mean, he legitimately won this game for the Bills in 3 different ways last night. You have the all 22.
Taylor Rapp was absolutely solid. Let me see if I got you some here. Taylor Rapp was absolutely solid. And I mean, for your viewing pleasure, folks, I mean, this is what you saw, right? Slow motion. This is actually Baldy playing this clip. And he even realizes how good it was. It was that good.
The ball is perfect. It's right in Rutgers' hands. And here comes Rapp to break it up. Like perfect time.
Care for his own safety.
Separating 3 perfect balls from the receivers.
Talk to me.
I bet you I can get this on the NFL Pro there. It'll have a really good angle of it.
Buddy, you probably will. But folks, this kind of gives you an idea that the physicality that the Bills lacked, you got it with Taylor Rapp.
They were definitely the most physical team last night. Wouldn't you agree, Rico?
For sure. The running joke was, I mean, Taylor Rapp is he's hitting people, but he's hitting the wrong people. He's hurting our own guys, right? So it's about time that he starts hitting everybody else. And this is what you gain with Taylor Rapp. We need a physical guy back there to do the job, right? Mike Edwards is back there. Maybe he's just not as physical. He's been sitting on the inactive list. Until they get him ready to go, he's going to be sitting there. DeMar Hamlin, to my surprise, hasn't been playing as bad as I thought he would. I mean, I don't want to say bad, but I thought he'd be more of a liability. He hasn't been bad at all. And now Taylor Rapp comes back and gives you that element of physicality alongside Dorian Williams, alongside Terrell Bernard. Bro, wait till we absolutely get as healthy as possible. This is why I was so jacked up to have Terrell Bernard alongside, obviously, Matt Milano and Von Miller, like getting everybody healthy and ready to go. Man, oh man. But listen, we got to just string these games along, string them along as much as we can. Get these dubs in. We got the Titans coming up shortly, and we'll go from there. Now, as my man is looking for the clip, I got to celebrate Ray Davis. I have to celebrate Ray Davis. Sweet baby Ray Davis. Bro, and I don't know what the slogan's going to be. I'm going to say, sweet baby Ray Davis, it's in the sauce. Because that boy was saucing everywhere that game. Inside, outside, down the field, catching footballs. Bro, impressed is the, I guess that's the one word I can say. I'm impressed, but I'm not impressed because I knew this guy could do it. And what I love about this is not a poo-poo on James Cook. We love James Cook as well because he brings a different element, an absolute different element to the game. Ray Davis, dog, certified dog. Love it. Get in there and show me some
clips. Dude, Rico, with like a clear picture, it's even better. I have yet to see the L22 of this. I've only seen the broadcast angle. So, by the way, it's a Ruckert for the Jets. It wasn't whoever we said it was.
Oh, Ruckert. He's the other tight end. Okay, got it.
Watch this.
That's a great view, too.
Right here.
You see, and you know what I love about that? He saw it, diagnosed it, and broke on it right there.
He read it beautifully. I was so stunned they didn't call a flag, Rico, just because of how it looked, the way that game was going. And the thing is, on such a beautiful hit there, the crowd was so conditioned in that game for a flag, they started booing. Let's see it from this angle.
They started booing.
Yeah, because they assumed
Oh yeah, love it. Wow.
I mean, that is as perfect of a
it's
look
a
at that.
Physical freaking sport, man.
And if he catches that, they would only need, 10 yards maybe for a field goal attempt.
And here's the worst part. Here's the worst part in all this. We now, as fans, are so conditioned to when you see a violent hit, you're expecting laundry to go up somewhere. Even if it was a clean hit, you're expecting laundry to go up somewhere. So as much as these refs were calling some BS calls, the fact that they let these boys play and have these hits, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. I like a ref that kind of lets boys play. You know what I mean? If there's a little bit of holding here and there, if there's a bit of, some tugging, I'm okay with it. Some good hits, I'm okay with that. But to not let these boys play and ticky-tack calls, bro, I'm not with that. I'm absolutely not with that. But
like you just said, that's the thing. The way that game was being officiated, everyone in that crowd just assumed there would be a flag because of the way it looked optically. Absolutely. And then how the game was already officiated. That game, that officiating crew should never see a football field ever again. They should be punished to the furthest extent of the NFL law, if that even exists. That crew was abysmal in every facet to the point where they were not only just calling a flag every play, they would then debate over the flag for what felt like 5 minutes after each one. It was unbelievable.
This may be an unpopular take, right? Although there were some bad calls in that game, but chalk it up to us being undisciplined as well. Illegal formation or stupid penalties that we've had, or the defense on the other side, pass interference. You guys got to be better, be positioned better. So they had to make certain calls that delayed this game. Although amongst the 22 freaking flags that they threw, there were some legitimate calls where you're like, got to give it to them. So.
Well, of course. A blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. But what about the roughing the passer calls? That call on AJ Epinesa was the worst call I've ever seen in my entire life.
I was 50-50 on it until I realized what was happening. At first, when you look at it, it looks like he put his weight on him. Facts. And then when you looked at what he was doing, like I'm trying to rip the ball from him. Because the ball was jiggling. If you can see, I'm sure if you could flip it and find it, the ball, you're probably not going to see it because they don't have a zoom in on it. But the ball was actually loose in Rodgers' lap. And that's where Epinesa tried to get in there and do that. So I'm not focused on taking my weight off of this guy. I'm trying to strip this football. So this is where the guys up top got to come in and be like, nah, that ain't no roughing the passer, bro. Nah, that ain't keep
yeah,
that.
They only seem to select certain plays that they want to intervene on. You notice that? The Sky Judge? They pick and choose when they want to update things. Like when Rodgers had that fumble that was overturned to a forward pass, the Bills didn't even have to challenge it. Like they just immediately said, nope, it's a pass. Like why do they pick and choose when everyone in the audience, including Rodgers, who even said himself post game, that was not a roughing the pass.
He said it himself. Exactly.
Pick the flag up.
Yo, that wasn't a roughing the passer on Josh Allen either.
No,
that
it was not. It was not.
Boy, Josh is a certified flop artist.
Big time.
Him and LeBron James, bro. I don't know if they've been hanging out in the summertime. That boy be flopping.
I would hate his ass if I was on the opposing side for that. Hate it.
Oh,
he is. He is.
I think that's why most players do hate him, because he does stuff like that. And you're like, oh, you're 6'5", 240. Ain't no way you flopping like that. And that's the way they feel about LeBron.
You know what I was saying to some Jets fans in the crowd with me? Allen took advantage of the situation. The Jets weren't. You want to know what I would have done at the end of the game if I was the Jets?
What's that?
I would have taken 3 shots down the field. The odds of one of them resulting in a pass interference was probably 100% in that game.
That's true too.
I would have just launched the ball into a crowded area 3 straight times because they were calling everything, dude.
They were, everything. Man. It was. It got to a point where things were getting silly. But at the end of the day, we got out there with a win. We got out there, you know what I'm saying? It's just nice to have a 2-game lead in the AFC East. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Because we wouldn't be saying boo, tickety boo, if the Chiefs were up. I mean, they're obviously undefeated right now, but if the Chiefs were up 4-2, you think they care? Yo, it's about winning the division and getting to the playoffs. And once we get to the playoffs, it's a whole different ballgame, man. Let's play ball. But that's until then, I'm going to just keep stacking these wins.
Yeah.
Keep stacking these wins. That's what it comes down to, man. Listen, man, let's get to some of these super chats here.
You read my mind.
Say Breeze says Cooper just made sense. He's talking about Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper just makes sense. Cheap and still has some left in the tank. Move Tyler Bass next. He's a bum. Listen, man, they got some serious conversations to have with Tyler Bass. They really do. And I mean, we've been saying this the last 3 weeks now. 3-4 weeks. So these conversations being had with Tyler Bass, that's just either you got it or you don't, my guy.
Well, McDermott was asked about it last night, and he literally his answer was simply he knows he has to make those kicks. Next question.
Is that simple?
It didn't sound great.
Because it's going to cost us at one point.
Of course.
I know some folks say, well, we would have lost the game if Zuerlein didn't miss those 2 kicks. I mean, listen, we had 4 points off the board.
Yeah.
I mean, like a Hail Mary, that should have never freaking happened, but it happened. But it is what it is. We got away with it. The better team won, in my opinion, and that was the Bills. Signified Note says, why is Tyler Bass still on the team? Bro, I was so mad. I was saying, yo, leave that guy in Jersey. Leave his ass in New Jersey and let him find his way back to wherever the hell he's from. Because this ain't cutting it. This ain't cutting it. And we play better teams that have a better chemistry offensively and defensively. And we need Tyler Bass downtown too, and we need Tyler Bass to really come in there and do something, bro. It's disheartening, really disheartening. Signified Notes comes back again and says, yo, you boys ought to understand, Jets are cleaning house if they don't make the playoffs. If I'm Joe Douglas, why worry about draft picks? I won't be here for that. So if I don't succeed in the season, I mean, shit, you got to do what you got to do, right?
I understand that. Then what's the incentive for Woody Johnson to write off on all of these? Either he's not getting fired. Woody Johnson isn't firing himself. What's the incentive for Woody Johnson to keep writing these checks and making these moves?
See, hey,
he's the one signing off on all of it.
I'll tell you what the incentive is. The incentive is if we're not winning, we better get some asses in the seats. The Bills have been able to do that for the longest time. We have, before Josh Allen, we weren't a winning franchise. We were just middle of the pack, if not worse. But we still had that stadium somewhat being packed and sold out every time. I mean, that was the biggest thing on the Ralph. The Ralph was super cheap, but those stands were filled like crazy. So if Woody Johnson can get the butts in the seats, and we're still not winning, but at least I'm going to give you Davante Adams, I'm going to give you Aaron Rodgers, and give you some kind of hope. Oh man, that 4-letter word right there, hope, kills a lot of people, man. What's Alden saying?
Rico and Bot, we need y'all to come to a Bills game out on the west side soon. I'd love that. I think as far west as I've gone, man, I don't even know.
Yeah, you know what? My brother-in-law lives in Seattle, so and it's not too crazy of a trip to get to Seattle from here. So I could definitely go to watch. Yo, hold on. Oh, the Bills play Seattle this year. Is it home or away?
They play them in 2 weeks. I believe it's at home.
Oh, it's at home. All right, then we ain't got to worry.
Oh, my bad. It's in Seattle. I just
shit. Now maybe I got to call my man.
That's 2 weeks from now.
Yo, that might be too
compact.
tight.
That's a little tight.
Make
I've
my way
always
out
wanted
there.
to go to that stadium though.
Yeah, that's a with a 12-man stadium. Oh, that'd be
I've
nasty.
always wanted to go there. It's a cool stadium.
That'd be nasty. What's Dave saying?
Dave's saying, can we now compete with the AFC contenders like Houston, Baltimore, and KC, or does our defense worry you? Do we rely on 17 making up for the defense allowing 350 yards per game? I don't think this change, and this move for Amari Cooper to me doesn't make the Bills as good as Baltimore or KC. I think the Bills showed you against Houston with a better coaching effort and a better performance from Josh Allen, they can beat the Houston Texans.
For sure.
They are not close to the Ravens and the Chiefs, in my opinion, right now. The
Ravens game was, to me, we usually play the Ravens pretty tough. I think it was an anomaly about that Ravens game. It's just that,
and the Ravens offense has looked unstoppable for a month straight.
They look good. Don't get me wrong. They look really, really good. But at the same time, when they punched us in the mouth, we just couldn't recover. It wasn't as like although the game they crushed us and they dismantled us, but that run from Derrick Henry, that was it, man. So if we play them again, I promise you, we'll play them a lot tighter. I promise you that.
I would hope
for sure.
I would certainly.
But I don't want to dismiss what David's saying though, because we're a very much bend but not break type of defense. When push comes to shove and we need to create a turnover, we need to get some pressure, I think that we've answered the bell. We've answered the bell. We answered the bell in Kansas City last year in the playoffs. We answered the bell against these boys here. We answered the bell in Arizona, right? The defense may allow a lot of these yardage, but we come together and get the job done at the end of the day. It's just that Ravens game was absolutely freaking just atrocious. We just lost that. And the Texans game, really and truly, that's a game we should have won. That's a game.
They do a terrific job of bending but not breaking, these Bills defense. If you go and look at the box score, guys put up numbers. It doesn't usually reflect in the point total. That's why the Ravens game was a real tough pill to swallow.
Absolutely,
for sure. It did completely.
110%. So we will allow some points. I mean, don't forget, we don't have the same personnel. The pass rush is I mean, Epinesa had a fantastic game last. He had 2 sacks. Love to see it. But at the same time, we need to be better on the pass rush. So if we can't affect the pass, I mean, they're going to light us up. Look at our defensive backfield. I mean, we're getting Terrell Bernard back. That makes a huge difference. Taron Johnson returning made a huge difference. They're not 100% yet, but wait till they get 100%. They're conditioned to be back on the field. I think we'll get a better product on the field. That's for sure. Signified Note says, yo, you guys are great. Love Dan Mitchell, but his takes can be insane sometimes. Dude had me convinced we would trade up to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, that was wild. My man Dan,
you could have convinced me of that at one point too. Probably, I was so ready to do it.
Optimistic fan, you gotta love our guy Dan. That's our guy right there. And it's engaging. He had you guys engaged in that. Now, if you're a realist, you're gonna be like, we can't get it. But stranger things have happened. So I get it, man. That's our guy Dan. No, he's a good dude.
Dan's man. He just wants the bill. He just wants the best for the Bills, as we all do. And sometimes. Sure. That might not be the most rational thing in the world, but God knows we've all been victims of that far too often. I would say
far too often. Bartek, our guy, the Polish Wonder, says, "Yo, thigh doc was hilarious. He kept making me hold his beer to go do this thigh dance with the Bills fans. Also, Z-Bot, you got to let me know how you like the snacks once you feel better. I mean, he might have to chill on those snacks because my man is not feeling well unless he already had the snacks.
I haven't.
Say he got sick off the snacks.
I only tried the bourbon thing, and I definitely didn't because I was sick before that. But Bartek got me some donuts, the bourbon barrel chocolates, pickles, and pickles, and some cookies. I had one of those. Those were actually really good. I forgot about those, and some cinnamon something. I didn't necessarily.
No deli meats? No sausage or anything like that?
No Polish meats. I don't know if that would have survived the drive from Pennsylvania to MetLife, but if I would have eaten that, I got a feeling Polish meats coming that distance might have screwed me up even worse.
Right. Bartek is in Pittsburgh. Yo, Bartek, how long is the drive from? Actually, you probably know Z-Bot. How long is the drive from Pennsylvania
to New York?
To New York, yeah.
Depends on where he is, because Pennsylvania is bordering. Pennsylvania is a huge state. It takes you a while to drive through Pennsylvania. It depends on where he is. I forget where he said he was exactly. but
Probably not
I
far.
don't think it was that far. I don't think it was that
What,
far. But
3
he said
hours?
he's in a
3
town where
hours?
it just so happens to have a Polish grocery store right next to him. So,
Well, there you go.
I love it.
NFL meme pages post Josh flopping Carpenter. Bro, I saw that. It's hilarious. Josh is a flop artist.
Yeah,
Flop artist. And if I'm an opposing team, I'd be pissed.
No
I
doubt.
hate Josh, actually. I absolutely hate him. Richie Fresh comes in and says, yo, evening, boys. Keep up the great work.
Evening, Richie.
Fire Bass, he says. Yo, fire Bass or get Bass under fire. Let's put a light of fire under his ass so we can try to.
I'm waiting for a week when Richie comes on here and doesn't have a fire somebody. That means we got to be doing something, right? Because Richie's wants somebody canned for the last 4 straight weeks, I think. So we got to get to the point where Richie doesn't want anybody fired.
Well, Richie says, yo, cue up the South Park nutsack meme for being today.
So I'd show you right now. I can't do it though, because every time I take my phone off of this thing, it screws everything up. But I'm a huge South Park fan. I'm a huge South Park memorabilia collector too. So my whole wall behind me is Bills, but on the left side of my whole wall, it is all South Park. Everything, action figures and posters and even shoes. I have 3 pairs of South Park shoes, a bunch of stuff.
So, who did you have a favorite character from South Park?
It's always been a tie between Cartman and Butters.
And Butters.
Those
I don't know
two
why.
together, that's like it's peanut butter and jelly. Those are always my favorite episodes.
I watched some South Park like anybody else, and I don't know why, but obviously the chef, I always gravitated to Mr. Chef,
of course,
and Mr. Garrison.
Mr.
Garrison, good.
Gary, that was actually really good. The ancillary characters, I mean, like Garrison and Mac. Well, Mackey's the MK.
Oh, it's Mr. Mackey. You're right.
Mr. Mackey's MK.
That's my guy, Mr. Mackey.
Mr. Garrison is the one with Mr. Hat, who became Trump in the most recent seasons. A lot going on there.
That's right.
Yeah. So last night, if you're a diehard South Park fan, you would have noticed Aaron Rodgers dropped a South Park reference in the post-game presser.
He did.
And put me in he's in my good graces. He said he did 3 things last night that made me an Aaron Rodgers fan for at least a week. He threw the game-sealing pick. Appreciate you, AR. Appreciate it. He admitted that hit by AJ Epinesa was not roughing. I appreciate the realism. And he said we might as well be playing Sarcastaball, which was a deep pull from South Park. Only South Park fans would know. If you have never seen the episode, it is a perfect representation of what last night was. I highly implore you to go see it. South Park season 16, episode 8, entitled Sarcastaball. Go watch it.
Did you just know that? You just referenced that?
I knew the season. I didn't know the episode. I had to Google it.
Crazy.
There are some episodes, though, you can mute it, and I can do every dialogue from every character without question. That's been my favorite show since I was probably, but way before I was old enough to be able to actually watch it legally in the eyes of the FCC. But I loved that reference. It was hilarious. You should go watch the episode because it'll make last night 10 times funnier seeing what he was talking about.
By the way, we've had a steady amount of viewers. We got 1,300 viewers on Twitter, X, and we've had around 600 to about 800 viewers on YouTube. Big shout out to y'all that were viewing, that enjoyed this show. We absolutely enjoyed chatting with you. Yo, shout out to my guy Bot that fought his way through this pod.
I'm feeling good now. That was good.
Feeling like absolute garbo, but he fought through it like the champ that he is. Okay. So great freaking job, my guy.
Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate it. On your way out the door, by the way, once again, I want to let everybody know the current state in which these Buffalo Bills are at, because I know it hasn't looked great the last 3 weeks. And last night's W, to me, doesn't change my overall thoughts on these Bills. But I will say, Brandon Beane going out and making a move, that is a huge thumbs up. The ability to pull that game out last night, that's a huge thumbs up. You're seeing that reflected in the betting markets. Right now, BetUS, the Bills, heavy favorites to win. The Jets plus 500, the Dolphins plus 750, the Patriots barely in the picture. And then if you go over to this upcoming game this week, which we'll have a lot to talk about throughout the week coming up here, Bills massive favorites against Tennessee Titans. Wow, Rico. In just the time we've been talking, the Bills have gone up another half point. This is creeping towards double-digit spread territory. The Bills were -9 about an hour ago on BetUS. They're currently -9.5. This continues to rise. So if you think the Bills are in for a blowout against the Titans, YouTube 150, the promo code, up to 150% or 150% sign up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit, 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits after that.
Love it. Before we get out of here, there's a couple things that I want to emphasize here. I got a big shout out to our guy Matthew Dovidio. Welcome to the Big Squad. He gets it. For those that are the Big Squad, let me know. It's www.supportbf.com. Become a member like my guy Matthew Dovidio. He gets it. He supports it. He sees what we're trying to do. We're trying to spread love. We're trying to spread love for the Bills and a little bit of education and a little bit of laughter on some other things. So big shout out to my guy Matthew Dovidio. We got a super chat coming in from my guy Bartek. Bartek says, "Yo, Z-Bot, this is why I love you, man. I have the awesome shoes and South Park hoodie, and I stayed in Fairplay, Colorado, where South Park is based. Ain't that something?"
Wow. So I had tickets to Casa Bonita, which is the South Park creators, Matt Parker and Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They bought the childhood restaurant that a few episodes are based around called Casa Bonita, and they rebuilt it into a functioning restaurant. You have to put in in a raffle to win tickets, and I did. But I'm like, I can't fly out to Colorado to go to the actual restaurant. But
yeah, true.
Dude, it's like they do it right. Those guys, I got to get out there at some point. I love to hear that though, by Bartek. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Here's one thing I got to do. I do got to bring though, because I love when Walter challenges and brings these up, because sometimes he hits it on the nail. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad we made the move, but honestly, I don't want to praise Bean for this move, because much like drafting a receiver, this was a must, not a luxury. Well, I get what you're saying, because that was something that I shared a couple nights ago, where this is something that he was supposed to do in the offseason. When you move on from Diggs, you move on from Gabe Davis, he had a horrible game last game, just dropping footballs left, right, center. But that's the Jags, right? You gotta replace those guys that you lose, or at least one. If you can't get them both, replace with one guy that's a bona fide upcoming star, or a guy that you draft double dip. You knew that Keon Coleman was limited. He wasn't going to be that guy. You just knew it, right? But you didn't do it. So now people are saying, yay, Bean. But Walter's like, yo, Bean should have did that before. Why are we praising him now? So I'm going to wait to praise him. But why wait? You might as well do it now. What's the point? Unless you feel like it's not going to work out with Amari Cooper. But Amari Cooper ain't no slouch. He was the number 4 receiver taken when he was drafted. The boy can play. So there's no sense in holding off your joy in having a receiver. Let it rip now, Walter. What you got to be what do you call that? Stick in the mud? You ain't got to be. What's the point of being stick in the mud? I'm gonna wait for me to be happy, because he should have did it before. That's what you look like, Walter. I gotta call you out at the same time. Although I'm not mad at you for saying that, but that's what you look like. No, I don't want to be happy. It's like the birthday kid. You go to a birthday party, and the guy's birthday party that you went to, he's getting all the gifts, and you sitting in the corner going, right? Or you're the kid that the birthday cake comes out, and he's ready to blow, and you're like, because it should have been me. That's what it feels like, Walter. But I know that's not what you're saying.
Well, we should be happy to some degree, because Jerry Jones came out today and said the Cowboys are not going to make any move before the deadline. Did you watch them Sunday? So thank God Brandon Beane still had the wherewithal to make a move, even though, Walter, I agree with you. It felt inevitable and it had to happen.
Really?
Yes. Dude, they are all, you know what? They are who I always thought they were. I've never been more right in my life than I am on 3 teams routinely. The Dolphins, the Cowboys, and the Jets. I should just bet on them for my career. I feel like that's just what I should do. The second I start doing that, though, they'll completely flip the script. All 3 of them. That's what'll happen.
Unbelievable. Well, before we get out of here, Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been sent packing. Share your words on the short time that our guy MVS was on the Bills. Anything impactful that you'd like to share?
I got nothing. I appreciate the time. Wish it would have turned out better than it did. And somebody had to free up a roster spot for Amari Cooper, and that happens to be MVS. I wish it would have been better. We've seen some good out of MVS, and we even saw it last year with the Chiefs. Just wasn't in the cards. Got injured, of course, in the offseason as well. And If you can't get playing time or significant playing time on the Bills roster as it stands right now at the wide receiver position, that pretty much tells you all you need to know. So
hold on,
didn't work out.
Did he have a catch with us this year?
I think he had one catch.
Oh my God, that was a bad signing. I didn't care for the signing when we first signed him.
Yeah, he
I
had
was
one
like,
catch,
okay,
or
cool.
two. One against the Cardinals, one against the Jags.
Buddy, and you were supposed to be the speed guy, the guy that's been around, a veteran guy. What a disaster that was. And by the way, I think this is super hilarious. Thank you for that, Walter. Thanking him for getting a receiver as needed is like thanking somebody that comes to work on a scheduled work day after missing a month. Yo, that is hilarious. You why it's hilarious? Because small story before I get out of here. We where I worked for my day job, if you will, I had employees come in, and upper management was like, yo, we got to thank the employees for coming into work today because it was a snowstorm and they could have stayed home, but they came in. So we had a spread. We had Timbits. We had little, what do you guys call them?
Everyone knows what Timbits are. You're good. Everybody knows what those are.
Timbits and coffee laid out. I'm steaming inside saying, what are we doing here? Bro, we're feeding you to come to work. Saying,
you're a hater. You're a hater. You know,
no freaking way. Get to work. It's time to get busy. We got people that need their stuff. Let's go. Oh, by the way, grab yourself a couple Timbits and some things coming in. Boy, it won't work.
You'd rather say, shut your ass up and get to work. I don't care about this stuff.
You made it to work. I'm glad you're here. We got shit to get done. Right? You know what I mean? And maybe, but listen, and the worst part is, it's, not every place or establishment has top-notch employees. They are the bottom of the barrel employees that barely get the things done and get people.
So you're telling me they didn't deserve any Timbits? That's what you're saying.
Of course not. But guess what? The hard workers are watching the ones that don't work hard eat the Timbits like they deserve it. And now I'm sitting here going,
"Oh my God,
it's coming in.
It's amazing." No matter where you are in life, whether you're in elementary school or you're a grown man at your career, it all comes down to moments like that. It always is. It's the donuts and the moments like that. I totally hear you. Nothing would make me more upset than something like that. When you got the freeloaders just piling the plate. I hate that shit.
Yeah, my guy, Rico's in a government worker that works. And listen, man, I'm just saying, bro. I can't stand for that stuff. And I'm one of those guys, supervisors that, I'll reward hard work. Yo, you nailed that. Yo, I got you. You know what I mean? But if I see you dogging it, bro, we got some problems. But anyway, I digress.
I love it.
That's right. Freeloaders. Anyway, listen, great show.
Excellent show, good. Man. I feel way better than I did going into it. I'll tell you. I feel way better than I do overall. 4-2. Amari Cooper's a Bill. Hard not to feel good. Even if you can't stay off the can, the Bills are doing everything in their power to make you feel pretty good today. Well over 2,000 people live with us throughout the duration of the show. That also makes me feel pretty good. Much love to all you guys. Can't thank you enough for the continued support. It means the world, especially in moments like this. We love to share the positivity as much as we love to share the negativity. We got to remember that. The last couple of weeks have sucked. This feels pretty good right now, so let's make sure to enjoy it. On your way out the door, like button if you could. Subscribe button if you'd be so kind. And 150% sign-up bonus on BetUS. The promo code's YouTube 150. That's up to $2,000 on your first deposit. 125% bonus on your next two. After that, Rico, you live tomorrow?
I am live tomorrow with my guy, Carl Jones. We're going to go through it. We're going to go through the schedule. We're going to pick our games. We're going to talk about a little bit of the trade, a little bit with my guy, Carl Jones. He's got a perspective on what goes down, and we'll get things cracking. And we'll pick our new power top 10 for tomorrow. Stay tuned. www.supportbf.com. Get in there.
I might run a lunchtime hour tomorrow too, because I feel like I still got to talk about my experience a bit more last night. I haven't even collected my thoughts all yet, so maybe we'll do that. And then Rico and I will be back together again later in the week, as always, for Rico and Bot in the evening. So a lot coming your way this week. Make sure to stay tuned. In the meantime, thanks again for tonight. Much love as always, everybody, and go Bills.